also to try to get a point across. And that point is to, to try to paint Hillary Clinton as a this, or paint Joe Biden as a that, or paint, and what they're doing is they're starting these groups, and these groups will argue against other groups, and people just kind of go along like sheep, and they don't even know who's behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
They really think this Black Lives Matters group is like African Americans that are, tired of police brutality, but it's not. It's these guys in Russia that are just starting shit.
See, but
it's weird.
See, I hear you, but at the same time, the thing that is has kind of shocked me is the degree to which this is relied upon and used as the scapegoat to not talk about sometimes things that are very real issues. And I know because it's been done, like they said with Bernie Sanders, there was this Russian troll farm meme created of Bernie Sanders. It's like he's like rainbow colored and he's doing like a pose where he's showing his bicep or whatever.
Right.
And like that was then used by mainstream media to say, why is Russia trying to prop up Bernie Sanders? Why is he trying to prop up Bernie Sanders? So they try to make it seem like, oh, Bernie's like a Russian puppet and a Russian asset. And if you support him, well, you've just been duped to support him. And so it's kind of used as this like catch-all thing where it's like, if I try to bring up a real issue, they say, well, Russia wants you to talk about that. Why are you talking about that?
See, this is three-dimensional chess, though. This is part of the whole dispute. Part of the whole dispute is you see something like that, and then people say, why does Russia want Bernie Sanders to be president? Why are they pumping up Bernie Sanders? And then this becomes even a more confusing argument. Like if they do something like that and they create these funny memes and try to prop up Bernie Sanders, and then the argument comes in like, why does Russia want Bernie Sanders to win? Everything's getting convoluted. Everything is muddy. Nobody understands what the fuck is going on. That's the point. The point is to sow seeds of doubt and to sort of disrupt democracy. The point is to do this very cheaply and easily through internet accounts. And
yeah.
This is the idea behind it. And if you listen to Sam Harris's podcast with DiResta, or the podcast that I did with her, and when she goes into depth about this, understanding this and how much time she spent researching this IRA, this Internet Research Agency in Russia, and all the work that they do. And they have people working 24 hours a day on this shit. And they're doing it specifically under the behest of the government to try to fuck with democracy.
I just think we have to be really careful. Point taken. I just think we have to be really careful to make sure that that doesn't distract us from focusing on issues that really do matter, because oftentimes I've seen that's invoked to kind of shut up the talk about real issues. And I'd also add on top of that as well, the dirty little secret that we never talk about in this country is that we actually are doing the exact same thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I remember that they created like a whole fake website or a whole fake app for Cuba. It was supposed to be like Cuba's version of Twitter. And it was just all U.S. created. And it was all trying to control the narrative. Yeah, I remember this story from about 2 years or so ago.
And what was it? Like, oh, fuck America? Fuck Whitey,
no, I'm not sure.
Communism rules?
I'm sure. No, they were trying to do the opposite. They were trying to say, like, ooh, doesn't communism suck? Isn't it awesome to be subversive? Don't you? Like, they were trying to kind of get an grassroots uprising against the government there.
So they were doing it for Cuba, not doing it.
They were doing it to try to,
amazing.
What they think is, free Cuba.
U.S. secretly created Cuban Twitter to stir unrest and undermine government. I mean, this is a tool, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of tools they use.
Isn't it sad that this is what, like, unfortunately, in so many ways, this is what politics has become? Because you and I can sit here and we could have a really good conversation about the minimum wage. What are the pros and cons of it? What do the polls say on the minimum wage?
Yeah.
If we went down that path, how would it impact the broader economy? We could have a conversation about unionization. We could have a conversation about healthcare. We could have a conversation about foreign policy. And you and I can bounce ideas off each other. We could talk about market regulation, all this stuff. But, like, that's just not what dominates political culture in today's America, because you just have this dumbed down conversation where the entire conversation is about stuff like this, or the entire conversation is about the individual cult of personality aspect of politics.
Yeah.
And that's just really upsetting to a guy like me, because if we actually have that conversation on policy, I think there's so much more agreement in this country than people realize.
Yeah.
And oftentimes what I say is, if you and I sit here and have a conversation, we agree on something. That's, it's a pretty damn good bet that that's a solid position that a lot of people agree with. But if two politicians in Washington, D.C. agree on something, look out. Because oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, they're agreeing to screw you. And that's what just happened with, again, this was about a year or so ago. There was all these headlines, bipartisan consensus and agreement on a piece of legislation. It was all like flowery, happy language. They agreed to further deregulate Wall Street, which again is the thing that led to the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. And this is what you get agreement on between Democrats and Republicans in Washington, D.C. Every now and then you'll get two good things like, Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul coming together, or Bernie Sanders and Mike Lee to agree war is bad and we shouldn't aid a genocide in Yemen. Okay, that's wonderful. We all agree that. But most of the time it's like, let's agree to further help out Wall Street. Let's agree to further artificially prop up U.S. institutions. Let's agree to Wall Street bailouts. Let's agree to more funding for the military-industrial complex. And it's like, we would be so much better off if, and this is an idea that I've been pushing for a while now, imagine we had a law where every time we had to vote in a presidential election, the people got to vote directly on the top 3 issues impacting the country, and that became law. So let's say in the next presidential election, one of the questions is, so it's a national direct ballot initiative law. And one of the questions could be, should marijuana be legal, taxed, and regulated at a federal level? Yes or no? And then the American people vote on it, and whatever we say, that becomes law. So then it would be like 65% in favor of it. And so we'd win on that one. And you can go down the list, and you can have the 3 most important issues. And that's a way, Joe, I think, to circumvent the corruption in Washington, D.C. I mean, one way is you can fight to get money out of politics so there's not as much corruption. I think that's honestly a longer and harder fight. But if you do this national direct ballot initiative law, I really think that could impact this country for the better. And it's an idea, unfortunately, nobody's really talking about it yet. It's not anything like Bernie's. I'm with Bernie on so much of what he's talking about, and I love the guy. But he hasn't spoken about this yet. Tulsi hasn't spoken about this yet. Andrew Yang hasn't spoken about this yet. And again, these are brilliant people who have great ideas.
Have they discussed it ever publicly?
They never brought it up. They've never brought it up. I actually brought it up in conversation to somebody in Bernie Sanders' campaign. I brought it up in conversation with somebody in Tulsi's campaign. And I do think that I'm not saying that to go after them, because I do think that they're really smart and right on a lot of stuff. And I think that in due time, they might see this position and really like it and maybe champion it. But it kind of in the same way that Andrew Yang is now going around and his whole thing is universal basic income. And he's kind of putting that into the mainstream of society, and now we're seriously talking about it. He's also doing it with drug decriminalization, which I respect him for. He goes beyond everybody else and saying decriminalize all drugs. So in the same way that he's popularizing these things and shifting the Overton window, I'm really looking forward to some politicians stepping up and popularizing this idea, because it's such a simple idea. It would be so easy to implement. And Joe, think of the positive effects of this. I mean, I remember there was a poll, I think it's in the teens, like something like 16% of Americans still support the Iraq war, which means like everybody's against it. Imagine if we got to directly vote on that. We'd be out of Iraq tomorrow.
But do they understand the implications of pulling out of Iraq? And
better than the shitty politicians who are corrupt and bought by Raytheon and Boeing and Halliburton.
Right.
That's what I would say.
There's got to be someone who could advise, someone who has an objective perspective on foreign policy. Maybe someone who's in the military, who's got boots on the ground, who can tell you, okay, here's the problems with pulling out, and here's the pros of pulling out, and here's the cons, and get an objective analysis of the situation. So at least people are informed. Instead of just having them vote on it based on public perception, have them vote on it based on something.
Here's what I'm afraid of. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yes.
And what history teaches us is that, and this happened endlessly in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Presidents came and went, and they were like, I don't know, I really don't think we should be doing this. And they would be talked into staying and increasing troop levels by the generals.
Right.
Now, this is not taking a shot at the generals. This is just me saying that when that's your field of expertise, yeah, that's what you're going to say. Oh, just let us stay there another 5 months, let us stay there another year. Joe, we're at the point now where nobody even bothers to define what victory would mean in Afghanistan, what victory would mean in Iraq. Think about it. What's the original reason we were given? Oh, we got to go into Afghanistan because we got to get al-Qaeda because al-Qaeda attacked us. Okay, that's understandable. Osama bin Laden's dead. He's been dead for so long. There's only 100 al-Qaeda members, according to our own intelligence agencies, still in Afghanistan. Why are we there? I think it has a lot more to do with the trillions of dollars of mineral wealth that's there. Again, I think it has a lot more to do with the geopolitical power and the chessboard of us versus Russia. I mean, the Soviet Union was there back in the 1980s, and we wanted to counter their influence in that region. And again, with Iraq, oil had a lot to do with it as well. The military-industrial complex, where war is a racket, as Smedley Butler said, you can make a lot of money going down this road. So
that's Smedley Butler. War is a racket.
Scary.
I encourage anyone to read that. That was from 1933. Is that what it was?
It's old, and he was right.
And he was right back then.
Yeah, and look at Eisenhower.
He had these ideas of what war was for. and that really he was just really making things safe for the bankers.
That's right. And look at Eisenhower.
Yes.
Eisenhower, a Republican president, when leaving office, warned everybody, look out for the military-industrial complex because people will want to do war because war is a business.
Yes.
So you can actually become very wealthy if you're perpetually in a state of war. I mean, look how much, again, the defense industry in this country, Raytheon, Boeing, Halliburton, there are jobs tied to the defense industry in every state in this country. That makes it so hard because even if you're nominally anti-war as a politician, you can still say, well, hey, listen, man, I agree, but I don't want the jobs in my district to go away.
Right. And that is an issue because if you're a politician, that's the last thing you ever want to do, and have that against you when your opponent is, saying, listen, this asshole pulled out, and this is why you lost all these jobs, and this is why the economy's in the shitter. I'm going to bring those jobs back. I'm going to reinvigorate the military. I'm going to do the,
and there we go again. Anyway, so the argument in favor of a national direct ballot initiative law, like a kind of a direct democracy law.
It's a great idea.
I thank you. I love the idea, and I really do think that even though I take your point that it's not like that, the people are always right, but I would say they're way more likely to be right than a bunch of corrupt asshole politicians.
Right, but then you got to wonder if the corrupt asshole politicians are going to make these propaganda campaigns to support whatever idea would suit them.
We've seen it many times before, and Joe, that's a giant issue. I mean, we've seen that when it comes to because most of the time with these direct ballot initiative laws at the state level, the side that is, in my opinion, better wins. But sometimes there's propaganda campaigns where they run these totally misleading ads about what's going to happen. I know this happened in one of the states when it came to either recreational weed or legal weed. They ran these misleading ads where they kind of flipped it and made people think, oh, if I vote yes on this, I'm legalizing weed. But it was the other way around.
How the fuck do they do that?
That's what I'm saying, is they have all these tricks up their sleeves. And
well, Ohio was the dirtiest one, right, Jamie? What was the deal with Ohio where they were trying to make it legal?
I was here. I don't remember the exact thing, but what I was hearing was that they had it tied up so that only like 4 businesses
it was a monopoly.
could do it for like forever or something like that. Like I don't know if it was forever, but like for a long time.
Imagine that, like it's legal, but you have to buy it from me. You can't even grow it yourself. Like what? Imagine if they did that with tomatoes. Okay, we're gonna have tomatoes legal in Ohio, but you can only buy them from Bob. Like, what the fuck? It's a tomato. It grows in the ground. How can you stop people from... If it's legal, it's legal. I mean, there's no laws against you growing anything that's legal, right?
Right, yeah. Well, there shouldn't be. There probably are. Like some weird rules and regulations on it.
Right. Some sneaky shit just designed for business.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, that is just rank corruption. You and I both know that the reason that came about is because whoever was in charge of the business that was getting that contract knew the person in government, probably funneled in money for his campaign.
Yes.
And that's honestly, Joe, that's the root of all the problems. The root of all the problems is the money in politics. It's the corporations paying the politicians. It's the billionaires paying the politicians. And if we can have this thing called clean elections, which just means that every election is publicly financed, then in a situation like that, you would actually see elections run on competing ideas and philosophies, and you wouldn't see elections run on competing special interests. Because right now, you could say, okay, Democrats, who gives money to Democrats? Unions give money to Democrats, so that's an issue. Some environmentalist groups give money to Democrats. So I would argue those special interests are a little less scary. But also, I mean, Wall Street and the military-industrial complex also gives to Democrats, not just to Republicans.
Right.
So you have these competing special interests going at it, and really you're just trying to determine which group of special interests is going to run the country for the next 4 years. And it'd be so much better if we have, like, I would love to have debates with people who just actually flat out disagrees with me. If you had me and Ron Paul here and him and I argue about economics because he's a libertarian and I'm not, I believe in social democracy, it would be an awesome conversation. We could actually disagree on the substance and really nail down where we disagree and why and let the people make their mind up.
Yes.
Politics would be beautiful if that was the case.
But what's interesting is it's always going to be dependent upon a single individual personality that people find appealing.
That is tough.
Is where we are as a country.
Yeah.
I mean, and when someone gets chopped down, boy, they get chopped down. Like Kamala Harris, when Tulsi Gabbard took her out at the hamstrings, that's a wrap, baby.
Tulsi, we salute you for taking down Kamala.
I mean, dude, everybody was saying she's the one. She's going to run it. And Tulsi...
I even thought she would have a stronger run than she did. And she didn't.
Fell apart.
But did you see...
Tulsi made her fall apart. It's fascinating. She just shrunk into the shadows like, oh, and your little dog, too. Just,
Did you see the last debate? Because that was like peak... Okay, she's done now.
Oh, yeah.
Because What was her main issue? It was so hilarious to watch this. Her main issue that she decided, I'm going to take a stand on this in the debate.
Trump with Twitter.
Was she was begging Elizabeth Warren, why don't you support banning Trump from Twitter? I mean, we're talking about two different sets of rules. The most powerful man in the world is violating the terms of service.
Why did she think that was something to hang her hat on?
She's surrounded by absolute morons who are Democratic strategists in Washington, D.C., and they think, okay, you have to outflank Elizabeth Warren on her left on some issue, so use this issue and try to make it seem like you're standing up for the little guy and you're standing up for rules being applied evenly. Joe, I know, man, because even to people who are on the left, that looks like you're just begging for the mods.
Well, the real problem is she never did deny what Tulsi said, and she can't.
Oh, you're about her record and how terrible her record is.
The record was awful. The fact
Absolutely.
that what she did with schools is the most disgusting.
The truancy thing?
Yes, where she threatened single moms with jail if their kids didn't go to school. And she joked around about it at these meetings. She joked around about it in conferences, about how she cleaned it up, and she just had cops knocking on the door. Ha, ha, ha.
It was bad.
Disturbing.
Yeah. What was even worse is there was somebody who was found not guilty on something. They were wrongfully imprisoned, found not guilty on something when it came back up. And then Kamala Harris didn't let him out and kept him in on a technicality and said, oh, your paperwork wasn't filed in the proper time frame or whatever it was.
On purpose herself. She did it herself.
Yes, this is the story that broke.
And why did she do that?
I don't know. I have no idea, but this is one of the things that, Tulsi was shining a spotlight on.
One of the things that Tulsi said, which they use them for cheap labor for the state of California, and she didn't deny any of that. Because
her record is abysmal on this stuff. I mean, there's no defending it.
It's amazing that she got to this prominent position without any of that being exposed, and Tulsi exposed it, just like click, turn the lights on.
Well, look at the Steve Mnuchin thing. This is one that we've known for a while. So Steve Mnuchin was part of Goldman Sachs. He was also the head of One West Bank here in California. And what happened was, during the subprime mortgage crisis in the Great Recession, they were illegally foreclosing on people early and kicking them out of their homes in violation of the law. And so Kamala Harris, it was recommended by her own office, you got to prosecute this guy. Look at what he's doing. She didn't do it. Why? Because he's a big Democratic donor, and he was giving money to Democrats at the time. Now, by the way, just in case anybody thinks, oh, this is just a partisan issue and only the Democrats are bad, Steve Mnuchin is in the Trump administration.
Yeah, well,
he picked him.
He's hilarious.
So it's a big club, and you ain't in it, is the point, to steal from George Carlin.
Remember when his wife was taking all these fucking Instagram photos with all the shit she had on private jets and stuff?
They look like Bond villains, bro.
She had gloves on.
They're Bond villains.
She's got gloves on.
Holding money with the gloves.
Who the fuck wears those gloves that go down to your elbows? If you look
Bond
at those
villains.
Gloves, yeah.
Thank you.
Come on, man. She's holding up money. She probably feels dirty holding up ones. Ew. But the fact that she's wearing those goddamn gloves, like, oh my God. And the fact that she looks like she should be fucking a football player or something. She doesn't look like she should be fucking that guy.
He's got $1 gazillion, so that's why.
Kind of hilarious, right? When you look at the disparity in beauty.
Well, these are the assholes who really run the economy. Goldman Sachs really runs the economy. Goldman Sachs, it was proven that they committed fraud at a massive level. What they would do is...
I'm going to order us a coffee if you'd like one.
Sure, I'll take one.
Something wrong with our coffee machine. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Go ahead. So explain.
So anyway, Steve Mnuchin and Goldman Sachs, it was found that in the lead up to the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession, here's what they would do, Joe. They would sell to unsuspecting clients these packages of subprime mortgages, but they were rated AAA. And they would sell them these packages saying, hey, man, listen, this is a great long-term investment. It's safe. You're going to make a lot of money. At the same time Goldman Sachs was doing that, they would turn around and bet on those packages that they just sold as if they were awesome. They would bet on those packages to fail. So that's fraud. They were making money in two different ways. I'm going to sell you the package and make money. Okay? And then on the other hand, I'm going to bet on this same package I just sold you to fail. Yeah. That's like a car salesman saying, oh, I'm going to sell you this car, and this car works wonderfully. Everything's good.
It's an amazing car.
Amazing car, tremendous car, the most unbelievable car,
the greatest car the world's ever known.
It's the perfect car, really. So it's like
you got the fingers down.
Salesman doing that, Joe, and then the salesman also betting his buddy that car is going to break down before it gets out of the lot.
Right.
So these are criminals, Joe. And the thing is, it's Democrats and Republicans who are propping them up. The Wall Street bailout cost $14 trillion. Why is it we could spend money on that, but we can't have an infrastructure deal that gives our country an A-plus infrastructure? I want us to have the #1 infrastructure in the world. You had Elon Musk on not too long ago. He's working on this thing called the Hyperloop,
Yeah.
The Hyperloop is supposed to be the future of travel, where you kind of get in a pod and it's vacuum powered and you can go from New York to LA in like 3 hours or whatever it is on the ground. Why don't we have that everywhere in this country? Why don't we have bridges that are fixed? Why don't we have awesome roads? Why can't we go to airports and feel national pride and say, this airport's absolutely beautiful?
Some are beautiful. Detroit actually has an amazing airport. Did you know that?
I had no idea, no.
Dude, it's like an airport from the future. Detroit has these fucking interior trams. Like you're inside and a train is above you flying by. You're like, whoa.
Whoa, that is kind of crazy.
Santino and I are like, this shit's from the future.
That is kind of crazy. I
That's
had no
pretty
idea
badass.
about that, no.
Yeah.
But I came from LaGuardia in New York is not great.
Oh, that's
but
the worst.
I came from JFK, though, thank God.
LaGuardia is number 1 worst, and number 2 is LAX. LAX is number 2 shittiest airport in the
LAX
country.
is pretty bad, man.
Well, it's even worse now that they told the Uber guys that everyone has to meet you at like a lot. So people are like, well, fuck Uber. So now everybody's parking in the lots. Now, good luck trying to find a parking spot in the lots. Yeah, it's a disaster. I was flying at a Terminal 2 the other day. I had to park in Terminal 6. Yeah, I almost missed my flight. I had to walk a half an hour. I was running. I had to run to
Oh
the
my
fuck. Yeah,
God.
it's so bad. All of them are blocked up. They have like no more parking spots signs on all of these different lots.
This is so outdated, man. Airports in general, like it's time to evolve to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know, like because we're all sick of that. It's a whole day to travel somewhere, and even if it's just a 2 or 3 hour flight.
Yeah, but if you go to Burbank, it's still smooth as glass.
I've never been to that
like
airport.
this.
It's one of the higher end. It's like
No, it's not higher end. It's fucking Southwest.
Oh.
No one goes.
Well, we were saying they should have a fly at your own risk airlines. And actually, I'm stealing a joke from Bill Maher because he came up with that a while ago. Because when we were coming through TSA, I left Nashville to come here because I was at Politicon there. And we had to wait on this line for TSA, and it was just never ending. And it's like if they just opened up a line and said, hey, man, listen, plane might get blown up, but go right ahead. I would have taken that option at the time.
Do you have TSA pre and clear?
No, I don't. Because
Well,
I
you
don't fly
fuck
too much.
up.
I fly to come see you, and that's it.
Oh, that's it? Well, you got to get clear. Clear is the bomb diggity. You don't have to have ID.
Well, there was a
use your
line for the
fingerprints.
pre-check, too.
But clear is not
Oh, okay,
pre-check.
that's different. Okay, that's
Yeah,
different.
clear, you pay for it. And you just put your fingers on the little screen. Teet, it pulls up a picture. Oh, here's Kyle. And then you go, gone through.
When will Joe Rogan get a private jet is my question. Like, flat out own one.
That seems like... There's a problem with insulation, right? As a celebrity, period. If you're a famous person, you already have a problem being insulated from regular folks. You don't have the same sort of financial problems regular people have. And then you insulate yourself further when people are always trying to get pictures with you and talk to you, and they don't let you just be yourself. You can't just hang. So you cross over this weird little area. Soon as you cross over fully, now I have a staff drive me around, and I have a private jet. And who
true.
the fuck are you?
Yeah, you're
Who
not.
are
You're
you?
no longer a man of the people. However, if
As a
anybody could pull it off, I think you could if you had a private jet. Everybody would be like, "Oh, cool, Joe has a private jet." But if some, other famous schmuck did it, people would be like, "Fuck that guy."
Yeah,
I do think you could pull it off. And also, I mean, let's be honest, private jets are so fucking cool. If you had a private jet, that'd be so cool.
What about the environment, man?
Well, I
you
think
can't say anything about the environment, man,
I
if you have a
think-
private jet.
I think that, and people always try to do this when it comes to the environment, like, oh, well, what have you done? Are you using a plastic straw? Gotcha. That's like a Kamala thing, But like at the same time, there's some insane fact. Like I think it's 76% of global emissions are emitted by like 100 companies. So really, it's not people that are the problems. It's the
Right.
companies, and they need to be regulated, and we can fix that moving forward.
That's a giant percentage of the problem, and
Yep.
the little individual steps that people do to minimize their impact on the carbon emissions and the carbon footprint, it's very small in comparison to corporations. Yeah,
That's right.
It's very
It's
small.
like pissing in the ocean. You're not going to accomplish anything that
Yeah,
way.
but it's all these gotcha points that people want to point to when it comes to things like plastic straws and this and that. You know what the real issue? It's not plastic straws. The real issue is how we handle waste. That's the real issue. How the fuck are the straws getting in the ocean in the first place?
That is kind of crazy. And
That's the problem.
what's
is
that garbage
people-
patch thing? I haven't read about this in
Oh my
years, but
God.
there's
Well-
like a freaking like giant.
Boy on Slot, who's been on the podcast before, who's a very young guy. I think he's only 21 years old, right? Is he about 20 or 21? He's very young. And he came up with a machine that is collecting garbage from this garbage patch. The garbage patch is larger than the state of Texas now. It's enormous. It's in the middle of the fucking ocean. And it's a soup of particles and particulates and all these little half-dissolved pieces of plastic that are just swashing, and you see a lot of it on the surface, but much of it is actually below the surface. And fish are eating it, and they're filling their bellies, and birds eat it, and it's just absolutely disgusting. All right, we got some coffees here.
Oh,
this
sweet.
is turmeric coffee. It's got turmeric.
Thanks, brother.
Does it work now?
Appreciate
It's
it,
good?
man.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. All
I
right.
don't. Let's see
is
if I like
Laird. Oh, it looks perfect.
turmeric.
This is
Is that how you
Laird
say it?
Hamilton.
Turmeric?
Yeah, it's actually got an R in it. Most
Yeah.
people don't know.
Because I would have said turmeric unless
Me
you.
too. Me
Right.
too. Until they installed this fucking machine here. Pretty good, right?
That is very good.
Yeah.
That is very good. Little hot, but very good.
Yeah. So what's going on here, Jamie? What is this? Is this an illustration of the garbage patch?
Yeah, it says this is their. I don't know if this is their new machine, but the Interceptor, I believe, is what I've seen in a couple tweets here. They have one currently on the way to the Dominican Republic.
Well, if you go to
And-
his Boyan's Instagram, he's got photographs and videos of the thing in action, and it's like this giant sort of net collection device. Is this a different one? Is this a different machine?
This is a new one. This is from
Oh.
his Twitter. I'm
Oh,
on
it is from his Twitter?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. His Instagram, though, has actual photographs instead of animation.
Well, I mean, this has it too. I just,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's how it works. It's got like this thing, and it just scoops them all up. And the idea is that they're going to be able to recycle all of this plastic, which is excellent.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now that it's almost like we have no option but to rely on technology. Like we have to develop technology to try to
Yes.
course correct here, because my buddy was saying that especially when it comes to climate change, it's like we're so far beyond the point where any casual person thinks we are, that something has to be done that's beyond just like, well, cut off all emissions and that's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a scary thought, because then we really are, and you've made this point before on the podcast, we're relying on like the smartest people to save us at the last minute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that
Which
is
is terrifying. That's terrifying.
It is terrifying, but they're the smartest people have figured out how to make all this shit that we're throwing in the ocean in the first place.
That's true. And they also, I mean, the guy who created the nuclear weapon,
Yes.
remember?
Yes. Yeah.
You said that, and I learned this from you. He said, "I am become death," or something
well,
like
yes, yeah. When he saw the very first, when Oppenheimer saw the very first explosion, the test explosion, said, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds." It's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, that is a fucking terrifying thing to say when you're watching the very first atomic bomb.
that. We have the
Detonate.
ability to destroy the world.
Oh, many times over now. Yeah, which is why
I don't think we're ready for that.
No, it's where we were talking about earlier today that Kim Jong-un threatened us.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, it was on CNN.
I didn't see that either, but allow me to say this, Joe, and I might get some shit for this, but I don't care. This is the one very narrow area where I'd give Trump credit, because there's this part of Trump where it's just anti-Obamaism in its most raw form. Whatever Obama did, I want to do the opposite.
Right.
And so Obama, Trump said he said it to him, so I don't know if he actually did, but Obama really wasn't able to get much movement with North Korea. And so Trump felt like, well, if I can get some sort of peace deal, it'd be tremendous and it'd be amazing and I would one-up Obama. And so Trump has actually directly against John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel and all of his foreign policy advisors, who are terrible neocons who never met a war they didn't like. Trump has actually gone against them a little bit and pushed more in a direction of trying to get peace. And by the way, the South Koreans are actually leading the way on that, and they deserve a tremendous amount of credit. And they like the idea that we're not escalating with them. So this is a very rare area, a narrow area, where I want to give them credit. But the thing that drives me crazy, Joe, is I feel like the media and the Democrats too, and definitely the Republicans, establishment Republicans, they're trying to push him in a more hawkish direction, which makes no sense, because it's like, here we all admit, oh my God, this guy's kind of thin-skinned and he's kind of crazy and he kind of, flies off the handle, and we don't really trust him with a nuclear weapon, but you want him to be more hawkish and more aggressive with Kim Jong-un and more standoffish? Like, they got mad when he announced we're going to stop our military exercises, which are, very antagonistic and done right by North Korea, and is done to let them know, like, we'll fuck you up. Like, that's the whole point of it, is to let them know.
Right.
And Trump's like, well, I don't think they're a good thing. I think they're, they work against peace, so we probably should stop that. And then he got a bunch of shit because, the media was like, well, what did you extract from them by stopping those drills? What did you get from them as a result of it? And it's like, you don't need to get anything from them. In North Korea, and this is going to blow some people's minds, they are not in any way, shape, or form an offensive threat against the United States. There is a 0% chance that they would, unprovoked, offensively launch an attack against LA or New York or Nebraska or anywhere. In fact, we know, and it's admitted as much, when you go to the Pentagon, they know he's actually strategically just acting in a defensive way, and he wants nuclear weapons as a deterrent to U.S. aggression, because this is exactly what happened with Libya, where we told Gaddafi, after he saw what we did to Saddam Hussein, and then we told Gaddafi, like, give up your nukes, and he was like, take them, you have them. And then what happened? We still toppled him anyway.
Well, it was the next regime, right?
No, it was Gaddafi.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't.
Oh, you're saying it was
wasn't the
Obama
Bush
and it wasn't.
administration,
Yeah,
it was Obama.
But still, the point is,
but the
point
rebels
is,
took over, right? Wasn't it?
the beautiful rebels. The
we
point
didn't
is,
have anything to do with that.
you
right?
can't trust the word of the U.S. because
Right.
we'll just flip it.
But
So,
did the rebels do it with U.S. aid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, just like in Syria, like we have now, they're jihadists.
Right. That was the famous Clinton speech.
We came, we saw, he died. She said it in an interview, laughing about it. Yeah,
that was fucking spooky.
That's one of the dark secrets of U.S. foreign policy is that we have repeatedly armed jihadists to further our own political goals, and that happened with Reagan back because we wanted to arm the Mujahideen because they were fighting in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union, so we wanted to arm jihadists then, and of course that became the Taliban and Al Qaeda. And so that's why, I don't know if you ever saw this, but there are newspapers from the UK, the newspaper The Independent, calling Osama bin Laden a freedom fighter at the time.
When was this?
This was in the 1980s when they had, or maybe early 1990s, when they had pushed back the Soviet Union out of Afghanistan. There were headlines calling him, a freedom fighter.
When he was the head of the Mujahideen.
When he was the head of the Mujahideen.
Wasn't that where they restructured the idea of jihad? That a jihad was initially supposed to be a battle against your own personal vices. This was how it was interpreted.
Yeah, I think it's interpreted in different ways throughout the Muslim world.
Look at that.
But
anti-Soviet warrior puts his army on the road to peace.
Okay, that's what I meant, not freedom fighter. Puts army on the road to peace. Peace
What
fighter.
did you think about Trump's reaction to Baghdadi getting caught?
Classic Trump.
But the way he did it, that he was crying and whimpering, like, why would he say that?
Well, he was also trying to do a dick measuring contest with Obama. Did you see the speech afterwards? He was like, listen, but I heard they had problems when it came to Osama bin Laden, but we handled this. We handled it so beautifully, so amazingly. And the funniest part is, apparently when it actually happened, he was on the golf course. And so after the fact, they decided, oh, we got to have one of those situation room photos like Obama did when Osama bin Laden was killed. And so they staged the photo.
It looks staged as fuck.
They put all the wires there, and some of them are not plugged in.
Yeah, that photo was taken an hour and a half after it happened, apparently.
Come on,
How
bro.
do they know that for sure?
You can pull the metadata out of the photo and find out when it was taken. I mean, the cameraman, he could have not set the camera right, but
I didn't
he
even know that.
should have done that.
Oh my god! Pull the picture up. Let me see the picture.
It's so funny.
The picture's
Come on,
so
man.
well lit. That's what's fucked up about it. It's like they hired fucking Annie Leibovitz to come in and light the room. You
It's
know
so
what I mean?
funny. Yeah.
Like the way
yeah.
it's lit.
Is
so
it one picture he's
professional.
looking at the camera, I think, too.
Is he? He's a character, man. There it is. Go full screen on that, please.
They can zoom in on the wire. You
Oh,
see
my
one of those not
goodness.
plugged in.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't plugged in. But I mean, also, isn't it interesting too that they're still using they're using wires?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because
I guess they have to for
Yeah.
security.
You better connection too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're watching video. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So is that HDMI? Like, what are they connected
Just,
to?
Cat 5 just
Cat
for
5?
Ethernet. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, those could be different, but that's what it should
Yeah.
be.
Like, look how well that's lit.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't even look like they're all really there. It looks fake.
it does look kind of weird, that's for sure. But it's funny that, at a moment like that, his thought process was I have to try to make this as, as amazing as it is, but he feels like he has to go above and beyond to do so, that it can't just be on its own. Okay, you got the head of ISIS. Congrats.
Look at Mike Pence. He's thinking about writing a book right there.
No, actually,
thinking,
okay, I
do I
think
do?
that Mike Pence is actually one of the most loyal Trump people who's least likely to abandon him.
Yeah, but I mean, when Trump is out of office and has a heart attack from all the meth, I think Mike Pence is going to be the guy that writes the book.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. There's
What do you think
something
he's gonna
about
do?
this guy. So Mike Pence, a lot of people don't know this about Mike Pence, but he credits his career to Rush Limbaugh because he became a talk radio host and he was so inspired by Rush Limbaugh.
Mike Pence was a radio host?
Yes.
Well, look at the difference between him and Obama.
That's
Obama's
so funny.
clearly watching something go down.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But Yeah, he's. I think he's going to be super loyal to Trump even after. The other thing that's interesting about the Trump era is even though he knows how to do relentless offense and not stop attacking Democrats and not stop making his case, what you're finding now is that even the other Republicans are struggling to keep up. Like they can't, as much as Trump wants to defend himself, other Republicans are now like shying away from doing it.
Right.
You know?
Well,
And
they feel the walls are closing in.
they do, but what's interesting is, like, I think there's basically a 0% chance he'll get impeached in the sense that he actually gets out of office.
You think he'll get impeached, but you don't think he'll be removed from office.
I actually don't even know if he'll get impeached, so I don't even know if it could get through the House. But there is a chance it gets through the House. I'll put that at 50-50, so he can get impeached through the House. But you need 20 Republican votes in the Senate to get him out of office, and that's not happening.
Right.
That's just not happening. It's not possible. You're
Not
going
for
to get
this.
it. What's that?
Not for
no,
this.
not for. I would argue probably not for 99.9% of things. Maybe there's some unforeseen scenario that I can't think of at the moment that for some reason would make them flip on him, but he can almost do anything and get away with it.
What's fascinating is how Democrats are so invested in the idea of him being removed that they're saying it as if it is a fact.
Well, yeah, because it's like narrative wars. You have the one side, they have their narrative about how he's guilty on all these things, and it's not even an open question anymore. He should be impeached. He should have been impeached a year ago. And then there's the other side of it, which is just like, at least coming from Trump himself, I did nothing wrong at all, ever. Everything is wonderful, and this is all fake news. And we constantly live in a state of like a tug of war between the two realities. And yeah, I mean, what's amazing to me is watching the media agree with the establishment Democrat narrative when it's not going to come to fruition. If you're spending all your time talking about how he's going to get out of office, he's going to be impeached, that's just a pipe dream.
Do you remember what the fuck's the guy's name? The GQ guy who had the basement show, The Resistance.
Oh, Keith Olbermann.
Yes.
He is the most insufferable dude on the planet, man. So self-righteous, so smug. See, that's the problem in the Trump era is that Trump's a dingbat, and everybody knows it, but he's not pretending to be holier than thou. Whereas a guy like Keith Olbermann is pretending to be holier than thou. And he puts on this, this smug act, and he starts yelling at everybody, and it's like, you know that you don't even want to be yelling right now. Reel it in a little bit, man. Pump your brakes, dog. Pump your brakes. You know you don't want to be doing
But
that.
his last broadcast, he was saying that
My job is done.
His work is done, and that it's days before Trump gets removed from office. And that was at least 2 years ago, right?
And that's the other thing is that there's so much.
Wasn't it? When was his last show? Keith Olbermann's
It was a
last
while ago.
It was in a basement with like a cardboard backdrop. It's just like a fucking IKEA table, and he had some notes.
And that's why, Joe, I think that my show is growing is because, it's so easy to be anti-Trump, but you have to be anti-Trump with intelligent reasons. And so my arguments against him are always policy-based. Like,
There it is.
there you go. Olbermann retires from...
2017. It's almost exactly 2 years. Almost.
They don't understand how much of a self-own this is and how this actually pushes people to the right.
But whenever you say something's going to happen that has not happened, I mean, goddamn, with something as important as removing the president from office, boy, you got to be right about that.
There will be no day of reckoning on that, and I promise you. And I know that because, remember the whole Russiagate thing? The first time I was on the podcast, I did a rant about the Russiagate thing where I predicted they're not going to get him on collusion. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Right.
I was right.
Yes.
Jimmy Dore was right. Some others were right.
Yes.
I swear to God, the day after we were proven right, there was no...
In my opinion, you are the most reasonable of all political reporters. You make the most sense to me. I've never watched one of your shows where I'm like, this guy's out of his fucking mind.
I really appreciate you saying that.
It's true. You're a normal person. Like, and you call things the way you see them, and you're informed. And that is so rare, man. And even the fact that you're able to give props to Trump's ridiculous shit, like, and say that it's funny. We all know it's funny.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're not supposed to say it's funny.
But the people with the sticks up their asses, they're only hurting themselves when they don't admit that.
Right.
When no matter what it is, they're like, I'm so offended.
He had some recently where we were laughing really hard. It wasn't the Jussie Smollett thing. It was something after that. By the way, I watched Alien Covenant the other day. I didn't know that Jussie Smollett, he was in that.
The Chappelle bit on that is so funny.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
So funny.
It was amazing. That dude has to live with that forever. When you get taken down by Dave motherfucking Chappelle, this is one of the top 3 comedians of all time dedicated 10 minutes to you.
And they're trying to act like there's this movement now to try to act like, oh, he's only accepted now by conservatives, but that's just not true.
Oh, with Chappelle?
With Dave Chappelle,
Isn't that hilarious?
Because they're trying to make that a thing, but it's just not.
It's just not true. It's nonsense. Well, this is the problem with woke culture. It's reductionist and it's delusional. It's not real. And they're trying to push this narrative as if they're echo chambers, whether it's their blogs or their Twitter groups, when they have these banned groups where they ban people that haven't even interacted with them, and they're interacting with people in this bubble, and they believe that this is how the world thinks. And that's how you get something like that Rotten Tomatoes review of Dave Chappelle's, where it got 0% by 5 woke critics. Then they release it to the general public, gets 99%.
There you go.
And it's also this spring back effect where people know you're fucking with them, and then they go, oh, okay, well, you guys are assholes. So the people that are saying that Dave Chappelle's special is bad, they become the enemy, and then so Dave becomes the hero, and then even if you didn't like it, you're going to say you loved it.
Yeah,
you know?
And the other thing is, they act like he's always been politically incorrect.
Yes.
Look at Chappelle's show, which was, I was in high school. We all watched the Chappelle show, and I thought it was like the most brilliant thing ever. And the idea that he ever crosses some sort of a line. That's Dave Chappelle. The whole point is to cross the line.
Yes.
That's
He's
the whole point of
a
it.
Perpetual line stepper since day one. That's why he's so funny. What'd you say, Jamie?
Were the Greenland thing? Where you wanted to buy Greenland?
Oh, that was it.
We'll talk about that recently.
That is
That's right.
hilarious.
Where he put the Trump to hotel in the middle of Greenland. I promise I'm not going to do this. Come on, man.
I know.
First of all, the buying the Greenland thing is a great move if global warming's real. If that becomes a part of the United States, then you can go up there. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, they say I think that they want rights not to Greenland, but also there's a movement in the Arctic.
Right there.
They
I
want to
promise
open
not to do this to Greenland. Come on, that shit is hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
But you got to click on it though, Jamie, so you can get.
I couldn't. I just found the picture real quick.
Joe, they want to do like oil
Because
drilling now in the
say
Arctic
Trump
and shit.
in that photo. You know how Twitter is. They only give you like 3/4 of the picture. Yeah, they want to do oil drilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I just the whole global warming is terrifying to me. The whole climate change thing is terrifying to me. But what's more terrifying, I think, than anything, that is a hilarious picture.
That is funny.
What's more terrifying than anything is that some people are resisting it, and it's become politicized, and some people are just buying whole hog into anything that gets said that supports climate change or supports the concept of climate change, and that we've gotten into this thing where it's an ideologically based sort of subject.
Okay. Can I try to frame it in a way that I hope I can convince some conservatives watching this?
Yes.
Because I would love to have the chance to do that. So what I would say to them is, first of all, there's a lot of issues that you care about that this will impact. So there was a report that came out about a year ago which found that basically large swaths of the Middle East will be uninhabitable at a certain point because it would just be too hot for human beings to live there.
Well, we were talking about that yesterday. They have Saudi Arabian summer, where a lot of people from Saudi Arabia come over to L.A. during the summer because our summer ain't shit compared to theirs. Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is, you think there's a refugee crisis when it comes to what's happening in South America. You think there's a refugee crisis in Europe when it came to what happened in Syria and Iraq. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Right.
So if you're somebody who fancies yourself against immigration or a hardliner on immigration or against helping refugees or whatever it might be, just think about what happens when you multiply what's happening now by 1,000, okay? Because that's what's going to happen at some point, and it's just a matter of when. And the other point I would make to them is this. People like to, make fun of the Green New Deal and try to pick it apart. If we talk about the Green New Deal and only define it as basically a New Deal. So the New Deal, FDR, put that into place. This was try to fight back against the Great Depression, try to get people employed, try to fix the country, right? And FDR kept getting reelected because FDR was beloved by the entire country because he was fighting for regular working people. That was his thing. And that's when the Republicans were like, geez, we really should have term limits because we can't beat this guy. What if, when we talk about the Green New Deal, we're highlighting the fact that, yes, we're going to move towards renewable and green technology. Yes, that's going to be a large part of what we're doing, but the whole point, guys, is millions and millions of jobs created for regular people. The whole point is to improve this country, to fix this country, to try to make it so that our infrastructure is better than the rest of the world. What if instead of looking at this as like, oh my God, This is going to be such a drain on the economy, and what's going to happen to the deficit? How about you look at this like an economic opportunity? Because what's going to happen in the future, Joe, there's inevitable patents that are waiting to be had for all of these green and renewable technologies. We could lead the world on that front, or we could lag behind Russia, we could lag behind China, we could lag behind everybody else and be stuck in, what would effectively be a Stone Age.
So how would they encourage this industry to flourish? Would it be subsidies? Like, what do you do to get these industries to innovate and to pump a shitload of money into green technology?
It has to do with government contracts. It has to do with, first and foremost, before we even do the right thing, you have to stop doing the wrong thing, which is stop giving $4 billion a year every year as a subsidy to ExxonMobil. And they hilariously say, oh, they need this money because it's for research and development. No, it's not. They don't need it for research and development. They're one of the most profitable corporations on the planet. They could do their own research and development.
Right.
So stop subsidizing fossil fuels. And then, yes, what we need to do is invest in a variety of different things that show a little bit of promise. Some things won't work, okay?
Right.
Some things will work. And then we move forward from there. And so that's where you could get the Hyperloop all around this country. What if all this stuff was built and brought about because we did a massive investment in a Green New Deal? Then everybody would talk about how it's a wonderful thing and how we're finally leading the world and in our rightful place. I find it hilarious that, guys like Trump and guys like Joe Biden, by the way, love to say, like, there's nothing this country can't do. And then in the next sentence, they go on to tell you 1,000 things that they think we can't do and that we shouldn't do and we shouldn't even try.
Well, what technologies have you heard, if any, that are being even proposed to mitigate global warming or climate change?
Well,
is there anything?
There's the classic ones that I think are more effective than people give it credit for. Like solar is one that's effective that people, I don't think it gets its due. But then there's other things like thorium. Now, let me just say I'm not talking about a thorium car because there was a car that was proposed and it was apparently was total bullshit. They couldn't make a thorium car work. But
what is thorium?
Thorium is basically, the way it's been described to me, is nuclear energy without the downside of like it could melt down and destroy everything. That's the way it's been described to me.
So a nuclear powered car?
No, not a car. We're talking about power for the energy grid.
Why not? Why not a nuclear powered car?
Well, the thorium story that everybody got pissed over was because they were trying to make it seem like it was right around the corner or they had the plans, and it just wasn't, and those people were full of shit. But that doesn't mean thorium is bad and totally off the table. It just means that specific car they were talking about was nonsense.
Okay.
But if you have thorium reactors, it's basically like meltdown-proof nuclear facility. That's how it's been described. Now, I'm an idiot. I have no idea how far off we are from actually developing that. But I do know that we need to invest in this and other things that show potential. I mean, that's the only way to move forward.
The nuclear thing is very interesting, right? Because a lot of the technology that's a problem today, like what happened in Fukushima, is old nuclear technology.
Well,
old technology that they can't really shut down. But they've mitigated a lot of those issues, apparently. When you talk to people that are pro-nuclear, when they talk about the future of nuclear power, they're like, look, we have systems that have all this redundancy in place. You can shut them down. They're much safer than the things that they constructed essentially in the 70s and the 60s.
I'm skeptical on that point.
Yeah.
And I'm skeptical because at every step of the way they told us that. So with Fukushima, before it happened, they said, oh, don't worry, it would never happen here. And then what happened was, of course, you had the earthquake, and then you had the tsunami, and they were like, oh, we didn't build the seawall high enough.
Yeah.
That's like an engineering 101 mistake, and now you're going to tell me you have everything figured out on that front? So I'm a little skeptical when it comes to nuclear for obvious reasons. Chernobyl, what is it, 3 Mile Island, 5 Mile Island, whatever it's called, and then Fukushima. But I do think that doesn't mean I would ban all nuclear today. But it does mean I think there are better ways moving forward that are cleaner, that are safer.
Right, and solar is a big one, particularly in places like Los Angeles. But with solar, you also need batteries. And the battery technology apparently is not as good as would need to be in place in order to power an entire city like LA, even though we have sun almost every day of the year. Like bright sun, very few clouds, almost every day of the year.
So nice.
It's very nice.
I love
Pretty,
it.
right? I
So
know.
nice.
You come over here, you're like, ooh.
I know. I'm like, because now in New York, it's, you're finally getting
cold,
miserable.
shitty. I'm going there on Thursday. I'm excited.
Dude, when you'll notice this too, when you've been there before, but it's, you don't even realize it's impacting your mood until you come here in October, November, December, January.
I noticed when I lived here, when I first moved here from
amazing.
New York, yeah. Me and my friend Gary were like, look at this. This is crazy. Like, look outside. It's fucking so sunny. It's fucking January, man.
So I don't think I have seasonal depression, but I definitely have a worse mood in the winter.
Yes.
And in the late fall.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That is seasonal depression. That's less depressed than you could be. But
Right,
it's
like-
definitely not
right.
as up as you would be if it was nice out.
It's just, the sun just gives you energy. You want
Right.
to do stuff. You want to be productive.
But you also get spoiled. It's like the equivalent of being a weather-based trust fund baby.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
It's like you always have money, so you don't worry about money. Well, if you grew up poor and you felt the sting of poverty and you didn't know where your next meal was coming from and you had to work really hard, then when you make some money, you feel great. But if you always had money, you're spoiled.
You don't realize it. So somebody
That's
who always lived in
California.
LA and
Yeah.
never traveled, they're just like, this is just what it is.
Yeah,
they
they're
don't appreciate it. They don't
Yes,
appreciate
They
it.
don't appreciate it, and they're soft. They don't understand what weather is. They don't understand. They don't have a real relationship with nature. And I think when a snowstorm comes, you have a relationship with nature. And also, there's more of a community bond with the people around you because you're all in it together. I mean, you really have to rely on people.
That's
Like,
very
if
true.
your car gets stuck on the side of the road, you got to help each other. Like, it's different. It's a different feel. Even in a place like New York City, there's a bond that happens when everyone's collectively dealing with some shit, particularly like some nature shit.
Yeah, I've heard you say that you think, my Northeastern people are harder.
They're harder people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also they're the children of more direct and recent immigrants and the atmosphere that those immigrants have created, right? Like my parents were second generation, right? My grandparents were first generation. They came over from Italy
That's
and
me
Ireland.
too.
Yeah.
My grandma on my mom's side, Italian.
So all those people, they came over. They were fucking savages, basically. They hopped on a boat. They didn't even have a video to look at. These fucking people.
I know, they can't YouTube it or Google it.
They just took a crazy chance in hopping in a boat and coming over here from Europe, right? They land on the shores and they live in these immigrant communities. You know, they're all walking down the street to buy bread from this guy and sauce from that guy, and they're all eating Italian food because they're all Italian. They're living in these Italian neighborhoods, and and everybody's like fucking struggling hardcore, and they have this hard ass attitude of the kind of people that would be willing to take a boat ride across the country. One of the things you realize when you go to Italy versus Italians in America, Italians in Italy are more relaxed.
Well,
They
it's
are
all
way
of
more
Europe,
chill.
from
Yeah.
what I've heard. Because I've been to Canada and I've been to U.S. territory, Puerto Rico. I've never been to Europe yet. Okay, and I've heard it's like it's a totally different culture. In the middle of the day, they'll just drop everything they're doing, and everybody goes and eats and takes a nap and relaxes a little bit.
Dude, Italy is so relaxing. The
See,
food is sensational,
now-
and the weather never sucks.
I like the idea of that, but if you actually put me in that environment, I'm so used to going all the
Yes.
time that I might actually be like, this is weird and crazy.
You
and I
hate
don't-
it. You'd go crazy. Yeah.
Which is weird because I love the idea. Like, I think, for example, the U.S. is like the only developed country in the world that doesn't have paid vacation time by law.
Yes.
Like in other countries, you might get like a month off in August or
Right.
whatever, and you do whatever you want and you're paid. Here, we don't have that. I definitely support an idea like that, but I do wonder how I'd react to that, like, big chunk of the middle of the day missing. You don't work during that middle of the day. I do wonder how I'd react to. I think a 4-day work week is probably a good idea, though. I like that idea.
It is a great idea.
Yeah.
3 days off, 4 days on is the right move. That's
Bernie,
really how
if you're
people should
listening,
live.
I hope Bernie's listening.
You think he's listening?
Do
He had a
4-day
heart
work
attack
week.
recently. He's taking a nap right now himself.
Okay, but we have we have to say though, and this is incredible. Right before I came in here, I looked and on there's a new poll that came out of New Hampshire, a CNN poll nonetheless. He's now leading in New Hampshire, Joe.
Is he? But that's because he's from Vermont.
No, but he was down before.
Oh, yeah?
And he's leading now. And furthermore, an Emerson poll came out. He went up 5 points post heart attack. 5 points he went up.
Post heart attack.
Post
they feel
heart
bad
attack.
for him.
No,
Who are they polling?
No,
People in
I'm telling you,
hospitals?
man. I'm telling you. You know how you always say about adversity? Like, oh, if you overcome
Yes.
adversity.
Yes.
He's like the prime example of that. Because I know people in his campaign, and they were telling me that literally the day of, by the end of the day, he was like, okay, I'm feeling much better. Let's go.
That sounds like wishful thinking.
I mean, that's what they were telling me was happening.
Kyle, I love you. You're a great guy. That sounds like wishful thinking. And I love Bernie, and I had him in here, and I really enjoyed talking to him, and thanks to you, because you set that up. But when you have a fucking heart attack, your body's telling you something. Your body's telling you, hey, man, you need to stop redlining this engine.
They're making him
Pull
roll back some events a little bit, and he's
Yeah.
reeled it in a solid 15%.
They need to get him on steroids. Get him on the
Imagine
juice.
him getting jacked.
Get him on the juice. Get him on the shit Trump's on. Steroids and some form of amphetamine.
He's already doing
Vitamin
1,000
drips.
rallies a day. It'd be
They
hilarious.
should have
watching.
vitamin drips all day long. They should give him a vitamin drip in the morning, a vitamin drip in the afternoon. Just change his
That would be
fucking
something,
diet.
man.
I don't know what he's eating, but it doesn't look like he's eating the right stuff.
I think he's on a very regimented thing.
Yeah, get a
And
nutritionist.
not for nothing.
blood work.
Did you see the debate right after the heart attack? Because he
Yes.
looks so much better.
He did. It's crazy. It's like he knocked something loose.
That's right. I didn't know I was being held back, Joe. I had a bum artery.
Yeah, well, he really did have a bum artery, right? He got a stent put in it.
But the thing that's so amazing is that and Killer Mike, who you also had on the podcast, who I absolutely love, he said it best. He said, this is the only candidate in my lifetime who's taking Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s philosophy and trying to run it across the finish line.
Yeah, Mike loves him, and I love Mike. So, I mean, I think the whole thing about him that worries people is just his health and his age. And, you know, and then there's people that want to label him as a wacky socialist. But when he explains his positions outside of that whole debate environment where you only have 30 seconds to scream,
right?
You know, it's just...
And there's a difference, Joe, between socialism and social democracy.
Yes.
And social democracy is Scandinavia. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's saying, hey, we're not totally scrapping capitalism. We're not going to have everything government run. All we're saying is let's catch up to the rest of the developed world when it comes to single-payer health care. So everybody gets health care. Everybody gets college. We're going to abolish student loan debt. We're going to have fair wages for everybody so nobody's working full-time and living in poverty.
Yes.
And when you explain this, like you just said, when you explain this to everybody, they're like, I can't believe I thought I ever disliked this guy.
Well, all those things are as fucking reasonable as you can get. And if you're going to have a community, which is essentially what a country is, right? We're a community. We've got to take care of each other. What's the best way to take care of each other? Well, let's support each other so that if something comes up, some sort of a catastrophic health crisis, you're covered. We cover you. We love you. We are a community. If you have a heart attack, if you've got a this, you got a that, you need a leg fixed, whatever the fuck it is, you're covered for that. Okay, well, maybe we shouldn't cripple you with debt when you're 17 years old and you don't understand what the fuck you're doing, and we get you involved in this ridiculous system where you can never get out of it. Even if you go bankrupt, you still owe that money forever. We're at a point right now in this country where people who have Social Security, they're on Social Security, they're getting money from their Social Security taken out because they owe student loans. If that's not the most desperate and gross fucking feeling in the world.
Disgusting.
It's crazy. And we have some weird, creepy coalition. I mean, there's some creepy, agreement that they have with these financial institutions and these educational institutions where they're essentially financially imprisoning young kids at an early age. And people say, "Whoa, you shouldn't make that decision. Shouldn't make that decision and put yourself in debt like that." Okay, that's great, but that's a very unscientific perspective because you're talking about someone whose brain isn't even fully formed.
Right.
Your frontal lobe, you're not even a fucking real human until you're 25 years old.
So I want to address, because some people are going to hear what I just said about, Medicare for all, single payer healthcare, and they're going to say, yeah, but how are we going to pay for it? Because that's the common one that people bring up. Now, let me address that because that's a really important question. And usually when you actually substantively address it, people go, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
How are they going to pay it?
So very simply put, the way the system works right now, it costs more than if we had Medicare for all.
Why is that?
Because we have an unnecessary for-profit middleman that essentially acts like a mafia. So what we're saying is, I'm going to remove that mafia from around your neck, and you're going to, it's basically...
What is that mafia you're referring to?
That mafia is the for-profit health insurance company. So they have to take their cut as the middleman between you and your doctor, okay? If we just remove that, have the government at no profit margin be the single insurer, that's what a single payer means, they're the single insurer, then we actually end up saving $5 trillion over the course of 10 years. And that's not Kyle Kalinske talking. That's a detailed study from the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Now,
talking.
That's a liberal fucking place. So what do you do when you have all these insurance companies? Like, what happens to those insurance companies? What happens to all those jobs? What happens to all that money?
The insurance companies go away.
Go away? I mean,
they go away.
Businesses go under. So you kill those businesses.
If I say you're not allowed to cut your lawn, okay, unless, let's say the guy wants to charge you $100.
Right.
I say, no, Joe, I'm going to be the one who pays the person who cuts your lawn. You have to give me $200.
Okay.
So if somebody came along and said, no, whoa. Hey, middleman guy, we're going to get rid of you. And Joe, you want to cut your lawn? Give that guy $100 and you're all set. Wouldn't you say, well, that makes sense. The middleman guy, he can piss off. Because that's the way I look at it. The reality is when people argue for choice in health insurance, look at it like this. Would you say, hey, man, don't take away my choice when it comes to picking my firefighter? People are like, what do you mean? No, the way it works is there's a fire and you get help. End of discussion. They will come. You don't say, whoa, I want to pick my fire department. Well, this is the same thing with healthcare. The idea you're going to be able to pick your doctor, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
But the idea of you'll have your choice between insurance companies, that's like saying, pick which, do you want the Irish mafia ripping you off or the Italian mafia ripping you off or the Jewish mafia ripping you off? Go ahead, I'm giving you choice.
Right.
In some areas, the idea of choice is fundamentally absurd. It's like saying, well, let's shut off the road system instead of being public. Let's have it privately run, and you could make a left on that road, make a left on that road, or make a right on that road. Don't take away my choice of road. I want to pay for that one or that one or that one. No, it's all there. It's all free at the point of service. And this is the whole idea of having a public utility. There's the whole idea of having something that's off the table in a civilized society.
Right.
And again, what the studies show is it actually saves money. So the real question people should be asking is, how can we afford to keep having the system that we have right now? Because we pay more than the rest of the developed world, and we have 30 to 45,000 Americans that die every year because they don't have access to basic health care. And we have 500,000 people who go bankrupt as a result of medical bills.
So what you're saying is that it would abolish insurance companies, essentially?
So there is one caveat to that, and that caveat is what's called supplemental health insurance. So what that means is if there's something that Joe Rogan likes that's a medical procedure that isn't scientifically proven yet, but it's still something that you like, there would be private health insurance companies that sell you supplemental insurance, which means on top of everything that you already have through Medicare for All.
So if you were getting like stem cell therapy or something like that.
Well, in an ideal Medicare for All system, and Bernie, believe me, has gone so far above and beyond any criticism. I mean, his thing is airtight. It gives dental, it gives vision, it gets everything. I wouldn't be surprised if under that Medicare for All bill, the stem cells thing is covered. But let's say something like homeopathy, which is like the horseshit, total horseshit.
You want to cover that by insurance?
No, Medicare for All would not cover that because it's so speculative.
So
and it's
private horseshit insurance?
Private horseshit insurance, or plastic surgery, things of that nature. But that's an important point because
is that real? They have private surgery or private insurance for plastic surgery?
No. I'm saying it would be theoretically legal for it under a Medicare for All system because it's supplemental.
But how could you have insurance for plastic surgery? Like, I decided my ears are too big.
So maybe the market wouldn't be there, but it would be legally possible is the point. So it doesn't fully ban private insurance, but it does bans what's called duplicative care. So you can't say, hey, I'm an insurance company, I'm going to come in and offer you something that's already covered in full by the single payer system. And the reason why that's there is we don't want you getting ripped off by some charlatan. That's
I see what you're saying, but it would essentially gut the health insurance industry.
It would make it so that you no longer have health insurance company CEOs making tens of millions of dollars off the backs of people while people die because they can't get health insurance. Yes, it would. And that's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
It's a good thing for us, but as a sale, like to sell that.
Well, the thing is, we have this issue where we have like a status quo bias where people think like, well, because it works how it works right now, therefore the idea of addressing it and changing it seems like so overwhelming that we just kind of default to how we have it now. But the problem is, we know as a matter of fact that the way we do it now is the most batshit crazy way you could possibly do it because they research this stuff all the time. They study this stuff all the time. And every single time they look at it, the U.S. comes dead last in the developed world when it comes to healthcare. So there was a recent study from the Commonwealth Fund. They found that they studied 11 different countries. The U.S. is 11th out of 11 when it comes to healthcare. So every other country that does the single payer system, which we were talking about, and there's different versions of it. There's multi-payer, there's single payer, there's private funding there's public funding of private insurance, public funding of public insurance. But bottom line is, any other way you do it is better than the way we do it right now. Okay? And just to be clear, because some people say, well, what about Obamacare? What was Obamacare? Obamacare was originally a Heritage Foundation plan, which is a right-wing think tank. So that was basically Mitt Romney's healthcare bill, Newt Gingrich's healthcare bill. And the whole idea was we're going to force people to buy private insurance.
Right.
And I don't like that idea at all. I dislike that massively. I've been very critical of Obamacare. I think there's a good case to make that it was a step in the right direction because anything was better than the system that we had at the time. But I would say that was just a little step on the path to what we should have, which is a Medicare for All system where healthcare is a right and not a privilege. We catch up to the rest of the developed world. And again, we should go above and beyond the rest of the world because like in Canada, I don't think they have dental covered by it.
They don't. But
Bernie's bill does provide dental. So, I think that this is one of those issues where when it's fully explained to people, it's kind of a no-brainer, and you can get people to realize, like, no, the system is totally screwing you right now, and we can fix it.
Do you think he has a chance?
Oh, absolutely. Bernie Sanders?
You really do?
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Absolutely, I do. Now, let me ask you this. Who of the Democrats do you foresee really beating him.
Beating Trump?
No, beating Bernie in the primary.
Well,
It's a good question, right?
it's a very good question. He's got a lot of support, for sure. But Elizabeth Warren seems to have a lot of support right now, too.
Okay, so that's your answer, right, Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah, I would say, well, Joe Biden's fucked. He's too old, but old in the wrong way. Like, his communication skills have eroded. He flubs his words. He looks exhausted. He looks like he's just waiting for them to shut the door so he can take a big, deep breath and just sink into the couch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. And sometimes I feel bad because it appears like he genuinely has cognitive decline.
Yeah,
So
he does.
So I don't like to make fun of it. But then when he goes out there in the debate and he starts like angrily ranting and he says, you know, we got to play the record player at night, make sure the kids hear words. It's like, that made less than no sense, man. What are you doing? You got to wrap it up. Did you know that his people are actually, they have a plan. It's called like a limited exposure or limited visibility campaign where, Joe, they are literally like hiding him from the public as much as possible.
Well, they have to.
They have to.
Because he's still close to the lead, right?
Oh, in some polls, he's still leading.
That is hilarious.
But see, and here's the thing, and this is what I was going to get to in relation to Bernie. I call the support for Biden default support. So default support is people who don't necessarily follow politics that closely, but they might be a registered Democrat, and they're asked, hey, who do you support in the 2020 election? I don't know who's running. Oh, Biden? Oh, I know Biden. He was the VP of Obama. Sure. Yeah, Biden. Why not? That's the kind of support I think Joe Biden has, where that is very, very likely to kind of dwindle away. And we're seeing it right now because when you look at the fundraising numbers, Bernie is breaking all records when it comes to individual donations, even outraising Trump. And Trump's a beast on the campaign trail. He's nothing to mess around with on the campaign trail. But he's even outraising Trump when it comes to individual donations. His ground game is airtight. He's got people everywhere making phone calls, knocking on doors, getting involved. And so he has basically an endless well of small individual donor support and an army of people on the ground, whereas Joe Biden is doing so bad that he went back on his pledge like, oh, I won't take super PAC money. Now he's saying, well, if somebody were to make a super PAC and it were to help me out, what do you want me to tell you? Because he raised $9 million in the last quarter. Bernie raised 30. And Joe raised 9.
You are so Bernie happy. Look at you.
Well, I love politics. I love talking about politics and explaining everything.
I know you do, but you're so Bernie happy.
Well, yeah, because Joe, he's an amazing candidate who's just trying to get the U.S. to have social democracy, and he's a guy who I know, because his record shows it, he's going to fight for all of us. Even if you don't agree with him and even if you dislike him, I understand that. You might be somebody who's right-leaning, he's too far left for you. But what everybody has to say, and they know it's true, is that he's incredibly honest, and he's actually going to fight for you every step of the way.
Yes. No, I think you're right. And talking to him, he's a very sincere guy, and I think a lot of his policies I agree with. I really, really agree with this whole the exoneration of student loan debt. That to me is a giant factor in a lot of poor decision making that a lot of young people make because they're fucked, because they have this massive debt hanging over their head. It's a huge source of stress, and I think it's a rigged system. I think it's dirty. It's a dirty system.
Yeah.
The Medicare for All, I think, is a wonderful idea. As long as you can seek, very talented orthopedic surgeons, if you got some money,
always
you
pick
need to
your
get
doctor.
something fixed. And
Can always pick your doctor.
Because you got to. There's a certain incentive, right, that I think that certain doctors have towards excellence, right? And a lot of that incentive is financial. And they're the doctors that are the very best in certain particular fields, they want to charge more money for their services. And I think that should be okay. That's one of the things that helps make people more enthusiastic about excellence. It's financial reward. It's a part of human nature.
No, absolutely.
And that's one of the things that people despise about the concept of socialism, is that it's going to somehow or another, by making sure that no one makes any more money than anybody else, which is like the most extreme.
Well, that's like authoritarian communism.
Yes.
But that's I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either.
And people who I talk to who are my friends on the left, they don't agree with that at all. And one of the things that we get most annoyed with is when there's like a conflation. People will look at the former Soviet Union. People will look at Venezuela. People will look at Cuba. And they'll go, hey, well, that's what you want. And that's what they say to us. And whenever we respond, no, man, we're talking about social democracy. We're talking about what they have in Scandinavia. There's usually no substantive rebuttal to that.
Right.
Other than to say, and what's funny, Joe, is they will take credit for those systems in some ways. So it depends. If you talk to Ben Shapiro on one day, he might say, no, Joe, those systems are so good because they're capitalist to an extent. Okay? And then if I fire back at Ben and I go, okay, Ben, then let's implement that style of capitalism, he'll switch it and say, no, they're socialists, so we can't do that. Well, which is it?
We have a giant problem in this country with this whole right-left shit. You know, and this is what I was trying to say earlier when we were talking about the concept of classical liberals, because most people don't even know what the fuck that means. The idea behind it, I just think that to have groups of people that think in certain ways, the problem with ideologies, whether it's left-leaning or right-leaning, is it makes you automatically predisposed to ignore or to refute the concepts that are on the other side.
I totally agree.
And so many of us share these ideas across the board. And when one group is committed to one concept, like one of the things that you do see this about climate change, people on the right are more inclined to deny the negative effects of climate change because it's part of the right-wing ideology. This is something we see today. Right?
We need to get – so you're right, but also I would just advise people, don't get too lost in the noise, because we can think that that's something that's overwhelming and we can't defeat it. And we could also think that, you know, for example, the whole Russiagate thing on the Democratic side.
Yes.
That became such a fundamentalist religion, and you couldn't deviate from the line at all.
That was exciting.
That's
we
true.
We got
so they
something.
wanted it to be true, and people would believe it and argue for it, even though the things weren't adding up. And I was trying to point out where it's wrong. But what I would say is, at the end of the day, people should actually be relatively happy about the fact that I think the strongest divide in the country is not right versus left. The strongest divide in the country, I've called it populist versus elitist.
Yeah.
So you have elitists in the Democratic Party, you have elitists in the Republican Party, and you have the people. And the people we're so much more in agreement than people give us credit for. You know,
I agree.
I have a thing that I go down, and I did this in some of my events at Politicon as well. But people would be surprised, man. 80% of the country wants to raise the minimum wage. 58% of the country wants to have free college. Like I said, only 16% or so of the American people want to be involved in Iraq and Afghanistan and these terrible foreign wars. 62% of the country wants to legalize marijuana. I could sit here and ring off issue after issue. It's over 80% of the American people that want to get the money out of the political system and clean up the corruption.
Do you think that this country has room for other parties? We're so ingrained in this idea of left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, and this is the choices that we've always had, with the occasional independent, the occasional, Ross Perot jumps into the race and throws a monkey wrench into everything. But other than that, or maybe to a minor extent, Gary Johnson. But do you think there's room for other parties at this juncture?
So that's a great question. And what I would say is, first, let me give my personal take on it. My personal take is I 100% want that to be the case, because I prefer, in many ways, aspects of a parliamentary system to our system. And I like the idea of having multiple parties. I like the idea of having more choice. So I want that to be true. And when I was one of the co-founders of Justice Democrats, when we launched it, we had to have those difficult conversations about how exactly do we go about trying to get these ideas implemented.
Right.
And basically, we came to the conclusion that as much as we want it to be true, as much as we'd like to start a third party and have it work and take off, there is such a gigantic systemic bias against that happening that you really do have ultimately the choice of Republican or Democrat. So then the idea becomes, okay, it's a reform movement now. We have to try to reform the Democratic Party. And there are people on the right who can try to reform the Republican Party. Like, if you're somebody on the right and you agree more with Ron Paul and you're more libertarian, you want to end the wars, you want to legalize drugs, I hope those people take over the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. And you have people who are against, like, corporate welfare and whatnot in that party. So what we really need to do is, because it's just the nature of our system, because there's such a bias against third parties, what we really need to do is harness all that energy to fix things and just try to take over the existing infrastructure, because you're not going to build a counter infrastructure because there's so much name recognition. It's like saying there's Democrat and there's Republican. Yeah, technically we could start up RC Cola and see if we could get a significant market share, but you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. It's not going to work. So really, and again, I don't want this to be the answer, but just factually speaking, it is the answer, that we have to try to overtake the corrupt elements within the system and bring about change that way, because that's the only way I think it will really work.
Well, the only way it's going to really work is if what you were talking about with voting on very specific issues, because most of the things that are problems are not benefiting people. They're benefiting the people that are in positions of power and positions where they can influence the way policy is dictated, because they've contributed to campaigns and because they've got this sort of revolving door thing going on with universities where mathematics professors and economic professors sort of dictate policy or advise, and then they get jobs in banks, and then you've got this whole weird thing going on with people in the government, right?
That's right.
I mean, that was exposed in what was that? The Inside Job.
Inside Job,
which
sure.
is a fantastic documentary for people to understand the collapse. But it's not benefiting us. All these things that happen and all this corruption that takes place and all this influence it never benefits us. It's only
That's exactly right.
But that's what's weird about it. And if we got a chance to vote on most of these ideas instead of voting on politicians, and then the politicians implement these ideas to benefit themselves and benefit the special interest groups that got them into place, then things would be much better.
Okay, you have no idea how happy I am that you just said that, because Jamie, it's official. I sold Joe Rogan on my idea.
Oh, it's a great idea.
On my direct democracy law.
It's a great idea right off the bat. I loved it.
Because I trust, and I have no problem saying this, some people will come after me for it, I don't care, but I trust if somebody's watching this and they're right-leaning and they have their opinions and whatnot, I actually trust that person more on the issues than I trust Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi. And I'm on the left.
Right.
And I do not agree with these nominally on the left politicians, these Democratic politicians, because I think they're elitist and I think they're corrupt and I don't think they're looking out for our best interests. But I think that somebody who disagrees with me ideologically, who might be watching this right now, they have more common sense and they're not bought.
Right, they're not bought.
Right.
That's the big thing. They're not bought.
There's so much more agreement than we think.
Yeah.
And so if you actually give people that option where you say, no, you're going to directly vote on this, then I think we're going to see, honestly, I think over 80% of the time, the more reasonable position will win. Every now and then you'll get one that for whatever reason, there might be misinformation or whatever, and it's overwhelming, and then they'll lose. But getting it right 80% of the time is a hell of a lot better than what we have right now, which is amazing, Joe, because Congress routinely polls around 20% favorability. This is a body that we could just elect them, and then you poll a month later, hey, what do you think of Congress? Everybody's like, I hate them. They're terrible. How can that be? It's because we all know we're voting for the lesser of two evils every time we go to the polls.
Right. Yeah. Direct democracy.
Every presidential election, take the three biggest issues. We all vote on it along with who we want for president.
Three?
Well, that's just arbitrary. We could say five, whatever it might be. But I think that it's good between 3 and 5. I think makes the most sense because it's something where everybody will pay attention to it and we could talk about it a lot. You know what I mean?
That seems like a very realistic system of reform.
That's what I'm saying.
Look at you. You're excited.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think that would really nip in the bud a lot of corruption.
It goes right around it.
Yeah.
It goes right around it. Now, I also think that at the same time, you do have to try to get a constitutional amendment to get money out of politics so that we kind of get to the root of the corruption.
Right.
But I also think that this direct democracy idea is a great idea because you do get to go right around the corruption and you could actually kind of circumvent a lot of the problems that are brought about as a result of it.
What a difficult task that is, though, to get the money out of politics because it's so big. It's such a giant part of how all this shit gets done. And once a system gets entangled and like deeply rooted.
That's right. But the system of it is actually kind of new. It has a really fascinating backstory as to how this came about. So there were a series of court decisions. There was one in the late 1970s. Was that Buckley versus Vallejo or was that Bilotti? Whatever. There were like 3 or 4 court decisions over the years, starting in the late 1970s, that kind of culminated with Citizens United in the modern era and McCutcheon in the modern era. And what people do is they wrongly think like Citizens United and McCutcheon were the biggest problem. But no, they actually shot a dead horse because the previous court cases set the precedent of money equaling speech. This is the legal theory that's now operating around the country, is that money equals speech. So if you're an outside group and you want to spend on an election, hey man, it's your free speech. If you're a billionaire and you want to dump $50 million into an election to say, keep my taxes as low as possible, that's free speech and you have every right to do that. So that's the legal theory that we now operate under, and that has basically legalized bribery. You can't like give money directly to a politician and say, I want you to do X because that's called a quid pro quo. That's direct bribery. But all you have to do is add a little bit of nuance and don't say it directly and have it implied and you're good. So
this is the Ukraine thing with Trump. This is essentially exactly what you're talking about.
That is kind of like the Ukraine thing, except with Trump was just trying to get dirt on his opponent in the election.
But the quid pro quo aspect of it.
Yeah, that's always been Weasley.
Implied.
Whether it's Trump saying it or whether it's other politicians saying it, when they act like, hey, there was no quid pro quo. Yeah, but we all know why ExxonMobil gives millions of dollars lobbies Congress to the tune of millions of dollars is because they want that $4 billion subsidy. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be stated
it's implied.
clearly. Yes.
We're not idiots. Everybody gets that. And so that's like the weaselly last resort to say no quid pro quo.
Right.
Please, get out of here. So anyway, but there's an argument that really busts up this idea that money equals speech that I absolutely love. And it's, okay, well, if money equals speech, then murder for hire would have to be legal. Because I'm not giving you money to murder somebody. I'm just using my speech to say, I don't have a problem with murder. You're allowed to do that. You should be able to get any kind of drug you want. You should be able to go to any kind of prostitute you want. And the dodge will always be, I'm not paying for services. No, because money equals speech. I'm just saying murder's okay. I'm just saying, I want a hooker or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? So, but this is the logic of that ruling actually applied.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, money equals speech? Okay. Does it equal speech in these ways? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it only equals it when it comes to politics. That's interesting.
Do you have aspirations of running for office someday?
I don't really.
Really's a weird word.
Well, okay, I'll explain what that means. I've learned to never say never, okay? Because I'm not... It's just, you can be wrong. So maybe when I'm 42 years old, I get the urge and I say, you know what? I want to run for office.
But right now, you enjoy talking about it quite a bit. And how old are you?
I am 31.
That's very young to be as immersed in politics as you are, and for as long as you've been.
Yeah.
Like, how long have you been doing this?
2012. I started doing it, I think, late 2012, full time.
Yeah, that's 7 fucking years, man.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
I'm an old young guy.
Yes, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean...
I love this aspect of it. Joe, here's the thing. In my heart of hearts, I'm more like, you're a comedian.
Yes.
I'm more like, I like hanging out with guys like you and fucking around and joking around. And I don't like if I were to ever officially jump into politics, I know what it's like, man. I know the first thing they do is because they've already done it to me. Oh, dig up his old tweets, see what he was saying. Look, he said that thing was wrong. And then it's all it's this whole circus. I don't have the patience for that. I don't give a fuck. If they come after me, I'll be like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. It's old. Who gives a shit? So, it's a whole other world. It's a whole other ball game. And being an outsider and being able to call a spade, because I got news for you. The system does not like people like me. The system does not like people like Bernie. They don't like people like Tulsi. They don't like these kinds of people.
Well, they don't like people like Trump either, and he's the president.
Well, exactly. And again, this gets back to the whole populist versus elitist thing. I think Trump was probably the most effective, what I would call a fake populist of all time, is that he was giving this image of a populist, this image that he's going to fight for the working man. And then, as we already described earlier, the status quo just kind of continued chugging along as it is. Look at his tax bill. It's the most pro-establishment bill of all time. So he's an amazing populist, but I would say it's a fake populist because his policies differ from that. But you're right. They don't like people who have no filter. They don't like people who really I actually think your average American would be much better at running the government than any of these schmucks who are there right now, who are, massively wealthy and massively corrupt.
As long as they didn't also become corrupt.
Yeah, but and that's the important point about why you need systemic reform, is that any normal person can become a part of the problem because the system will beat you down.
Right.
And that's just the nature of the way it works. But no, I don't want to run for office because I like what I'm doing.
You enjoy just commenting on it, and also you enjoy doing it on your own time. You do it whenever you want to.
I make my own schedule.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I pump stuff out like crazy.
You do, but you also don't have an overlord.
No boss.
Yeah.
I can't have a boss. I don't have that personality that meshes with it.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I'm, it's like trying to tame a zebra. You can't do it. You can tame a horse. You can't tame a zebra.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
you can't tame a zebra.
So I don't want to do it. I know that some people want me to do it, but it's not. I don't like the idea of it.
Well, I always enjoy talking to you, man, and we should probably do these more often because
Thanks, man.
I learn a lot of shit from you too.
Thank you.
It fills in blanks, and like I said, I think you're the most reasonable guy that's doing this in terms of doing political commentary on YouTube and on the internet.
I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you.
Let's do it more often, my friend.
Sure, man. Just got to force me on a plane. That's it.
I will force you on a plane. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Oh, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, your Instagram and
I don't have an Instagram. I have a Twitter. I'm like Trump, only Twitter. At Kyle Kalinske on Twitter, and it's Secular Talk on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks
Bye,
so much.
everybody.
That was great. Yeah, that was fun. We could go for like 5 hours.
2, 1. Hi, Andrew Santino.
What's up, Mr. Rogan?
It's
This is
still
great.
sober October.
Still sober.
You can have real drinks.
No, I'm not gonna have real drinks. I'm gonna have
You can
this.
have some of this.
Cheers. I'll have some of this.
Heineken 00. It's good, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
I know you want to get fucked up, but you can't. How about that?
I'm not gonna, man.
How about that?
I'm not gonna. I need time
Do
for
you
my
think
stomach to clear
You
out.
could do sober October.
No, you know I can't do that shit.
You can't do it.
No, a
week?
month.
How about a week?
I could do a week. I could do sober week.
So you could do the first week of sober October.
Yeah, I could do the reason.
Maybe like the first week this year, next year you do 2 weeks.
I could do a sober month, but October sucks for me. It's my birthday in October, so I don't want to take it off. You know. Also, I like drinking too much.
You like it a lot.
I can stop weed and
Yeah.
anything else.
Not
But
booze.
no, I can't.
Do you want to drink?
Nah.
I got booze right over there.
No, my tummy's so sensitive still.
Yeah, you're all a mess. Let's tell everybody what happened. So, no offense to Hilarities, which is a great comedy club. We stopped there Saturday night after our show in Cleveland. We went over to say hi to our friend Jessie Mae Peluso, who was headlining there. And what was the dude's name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
I don't remember.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we say hi to them, and they graciously, the owners of the club, graciously asked if we were hungry. We said, sure, we could eat. They have a nice menu.
Why not?
So I had the prime rib. It was excellent. And you had a steak with some vegetables.
That's right. I had a bunch of vegetables on
This
the
is
side.
probably around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get on a plane at like 6 in the morning. We are flying back home, and I pass out, and then the lady wakes me up. It's like a movie. The lady wakes me up, and then I look over you. You're like, dude, I'm not good. I'm not good. I'm not doing good. I'm
was
like, what's the
tripping.
matter? What happened? Like, we had walked through the airport, cracking jokes like we always do,
Yep.
having a great old time. Everything seemed normal. He didn't seem sick at all. He fell asleep. Tell everybody what happened.
I fall asleep. I woke up like in Fight Club when you're like when he wakes up, he's like on the plane. Like my breath caught myself, and I sprinted to the bathroom, and I was like so out of it, and I think the head rush had got me all fucked up, and I sat down and I blacked out and passed out for a second, and I woke up and I'm throwing up. I mean, I am hurling.
You woke up throwing up.
Throwing up, just like as I wake up, I'm spitting, and I'm like holding on to the sides, like I can't believe what's like. I'm so disoriented, and I walk out and I grab the flight attendant and I was like, Is there a doctor on the plane? Like something's fucking wrong. Like I don't feel good. And right then my stomach was like burbling again. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're like pale as a fucking ghost." And I was
You're
like,
always pale.
I'm like this bitch. This is what I look like.
He's a ginger.
She goes, "Go sit down. I'll get somebody." This nurse was on there. This guy Garrett, super nice, and he was right in front of us, like a row up. And he asked to switch seats with Joe, and he sat with me, and I was hurling, dude. Dude, for the first time in my life, I puked in those bags. You know when you're like, nobody pukes in those fucking bags? I did it.
I watched you.
I puked in that fucking bag like 3 times.
And then he saw undigested food.
Tons
in
of
there.
undigested
and
food
I was
in there.
pretty sure it was food poisoning because I've had food poisoning before, and sometimes it comes on pretty quick.
You knocked it on the nose. Well, that's what he thought it was too. He was asking me, he's like, "What did you have last night?" I said, "I had 2 drinks at the show, and I had a couple of beers after with Jessamine and her friend." And he was like, "Did you take any street drugs?"
Yeah, that's what he said. He said street drugs.
Did you take any back alley drugs? I said, "No, man. I swear to God, he thought
What
I was
about
lying."
ditch? Any ditch
Did you
drugs?
take any ditch drugs?
Any forest drugs?
Any sewer shit? So I told him the truth. I said, "Dude, I didn't take any drugs last night." And he was like, "Okay." And when he told me, he looked in there and he goes, "Oh, you have undigested food, which means your body's rejecting it without processing it. So it must be, you got a bug of some kind." Because, dude, when I grabbed you and I go, "Bro, something's wrong. Like, this is not."
It was very nerve-wracking because I was out of it.
Yeah,
'cause
you were totally
I passed
asleep.
out, and I was so confused. I was like, "How? But you were okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Did he have a stroke?"
Dude, it was
what'd you have?
creepy. I felt for a second in the bathroom like something medically was really, really wrong. My instinct was, oh, I must be like sick or something's wrong. But then when I kept like having this urge to yarg, I was like, something's really going on. Like
I was assuming that it was the vegetables because a lot of times people get it from poorly handled salad.
yeah,
Yeah, people get,
it was bad.
if they don't wash the leaves and everything real good, people can get food poisoning from salad. It's apparently one of the most common ways people get food poisoning.
Was from salad and
From
shit.
salad,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, dude, it was just and the guy was so nice. He sat with me the whole time, but he could tell. He was like, "Are you doing okay?" And every couple of minutes, I'd feel like I had to when water can't stay down. I think that's the key when you're like chugging water. He's like, "Don't chug too fast." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because," and then I'm just like, he's like, "Because of that, bro. You fucking puking up water." But the old red feels fine. I feel fine now. That fucked me up bad. And it's 5 hours from Cleveland, so wasn't a quick jump.
Food poisoning is sketchy. It's
Sucks,
a weird feeling.
dude. Sucks. It was
I've
awful,
had
man.
it 4 or 5 times in my life. It's never good.
That's the second time. The first time I had it was in college. It was the worst thing ever. It was way worse. This was both ends. This is when your mouth and back door. When you're it's like a cartoon. I had it in college from movie theater popcorn.
What?
That's real shit.
Movie theater
That's
popcorn
real shit,
gave you
dude.
food poisoning.
Here's how we knew. Me and this other dude, we ate totally different meals all day, and this other friend of ours too. And long story short, whatever, we both woke up sick the same time, like in the middle of the night. And we had asked when I went to the doctor finally the next day, because I was sick all day. And the doctor was like, "What'd you eat?" I detailed it, and he goes, "Oh, yeah. Sometimes the butter can be spoiled or rotten."
Oh, actual butter.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why they use that fake ass butter.
Hell yeah.
What is that fake ass butter made out of?
I don't fucking know.
What the fuck is popcorn theater butter made out of if it's not real butter? Because most places don't have real butter.
Jamie's laughing at my sicknesses.
No,
The
it's not.
movie popcorn.
What do you think it is? It's like got to be some
Like
weird
sort of
vegetable
canola
oil.
or something. Yeah, let's see.
Oh, nasty.
It was
shit
it was
for
weird.
you.
Yeah, we
Butter
both
flavored oil. Yeah.
Butter flavored
oily.
Can't
Yeah.
believe it's not butter. What is that?
Ugh, margarine.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, they
Do you know
say
how bad that stuff is for you?
Trash.
People used to think margarine's the way to go. Like if butter's terrible for you, have some margarine. Margarine's non-dairy.
it's
It's fucking
way worse.
horrible for you. But all processed oils. You know what they're finding out from those fake meat burgers?
The
They fed them to
Impossible Burger?
rats and they're giving them liver cancer.
Yeah.
Pull up what the study was. Yeah. One of those Beyond Meat or Impossible Meat or Not Really Meat, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Not meat, but looks like meat. We're trying to make it look like meat
It's processed oils.
with grill marks on it.
The
Why do they
weird-
do
the
that
weird
shit?
It's mostly oils.
Yeah.
It's like oils from vegetables. It's very strange.
A lot of soy and shit like that.
Like those processed vegetable oils are terrible for you.
Yeah.
You know what's good for you? Olive oil. That's a good vegetable oil. Avocado oil is good for you. But like all that other shit, like canola and all that stuff's fucking terrible.
This is my
for
question.
you.
Is it
Here
because
is.
it's not naturally occurring?
Rat feeding studies suggest the Impossible Burger may not be safe to eat. Scroll down. This is GMO science. It says, hold on a second. Make that a little larger. Rats. What are you doing? What's going on with
You're
your
trying to
phone?
make it bigger and it's just going up.
Rats.
It's not doing
Stop. Stop moving. Go back. Jesus, Jamie.
It's-
Stop. Go back. Go back.
that. I'm back.
No.
This is it.
No, it's not.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
just for the picture.
Rats fed the the fucking text there, buddy. Rats fed the genetically modified yeast-derived protein soy. Whoa, say that word.
Lehemoglobin.
No, lehemoglobin.
Lehemoglobin.
Lehemoglobin. That sounds like an Irishman.
Danny Lehemoglobin.
Oh, Danny Lehemoglobin.
He's a good boy. He is
The
Danny
burger's
Lehemoglobin.
key ingredient developed unexplained changes in weight gain and significant signs of toxicity. Why did I put the word significant in there? It wasn't even there.
It felt right.
It did. I'm an editor. Okay. Unexplained changes in weight gain and signs of toxicity. And it said the Impossible Burger is a plant-based burger. The key ingredient, which is a protein called soy lehemoglobin,
Lehemoglobin.
SLH, derived from genetically modified yeast. A rat feeding study commissioned by the manufacturer Impossible Foods found that rats fed SLH developed unexplained changes in weight gain as well as changes in the blood that can indicate that the onset of inflammation or kidney disease as well as possible signs of anemia.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Impossible Foods dismissed these statistically significant effects as non-adverse or having no toxicological relevance. That's
It's so funny you can just dismiss things. They did
Yeah.
a real study and they're like, not real.
well, they're dismissing it because it's not convenient. I mean, it's
Right.
real simple. I mean, you do rat studies doesn't necessarily mean it transfers to people. But that stuff is okay. What's the ingredients? Let's find out what the fucking
that's what I wanna
ingredients
know.
of
How
these
do they make
Impossible.
it?
Because that's not the only thing that I've read. I've read things by actual nutritionists. They're saying, look, you want to be on a plant-based diet, you should eat real foods. You can eat healthy on a plant-based diet. You can eat real vegetables and avocado, and there's plenty of good stuff to eat. Coconut oils, all this stuff is healthy for you. But when you start making shit look like meat, that's when shit gets squirrely, because you're finding all kinds of they're adding all sorts of processed food. Why'd you take that off the screen?
I don't want to be distracting while you're talking.
Oh no, it's okay. So what the fuck is in there?
Top 5 ingredients.
Calories, 4-ounce serving, which is pretty skimpy, clocks in at 240 calories. That's in the range of a beef burger, depending on fat content. Cholesterol, the Impossible contains no cholesterol. To compare, a regular beef patty contains about 80 milligrams. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Fat, 14 grams, includes 8 grams of saturated fat, which is generally considered less healthy than unsaturated fat. That's not true. It's entirely dependent upon the source, and it's entirely dependent upon like how you're eating, like what you're eating.
Yeah.
Like the idea that saturated fat is bad for you. This has all been debunked. This is comparable to a beef burger, mostly due to the coconut oil, which is healthy for you fuckers. This year, the Impossible replaced a portion of the coconut oil, which is the highest in saturated fat, god damn it, with sunflower oil, which is way shittier for you, which is an unsaturated fat. God damn. This, talking to nutritionists on this podcast has been so enlightening, but so confusing when you see the way that people still want to eat low fat. And they don't understand, like, fats are important. Your body fucking needs them. They're good for your brain. They're good for everything. Omega-3s, omega-6s.
That was the revolution of, I remember as a kid, everything became, in like the late 80s and 90s, everything was lower fat, but it was higher sugar content, right? Mm-hmm. So it was just like, less fat, but they were just increasing the sugar. It was like 1% milk. That's the biggest joke when they're like,
they put sugar in it.
Less fat. Yeah, but they substituted it with tons of fucking sugar.
Because it tastes terrible.
Yeah, it tastes like shit without the fat.
All those monsters that put low-fat milk in their coffee, who the fuck are you?
Piece of shit.
Who are you? They're tricked. They got tricked. They got tricked by this idea that you're supposed to have low fat. Find out, pull up something, what is the Impossible Burger healthy? Is it healthy?
Well, here's the thing. They were pushed. That article obviously was siding with the Impossible Burger because they cited 4 items, and it was like soy protein, coconut, and something else. They don't really tell you how the process is that they make those. That's the thing. They won't say, well, here's how we derive these things and fucking process them.
I was going to say, before I even looked this up, I don't think that they're even marketing as being healthier. It's just an alternative for meat for people that really still want to eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's it.
But is it healthy for you?
Yeah, I don't think that this.
I don't think they're even bothering.
All.
Yeah, it's probably less healthy for you than a fucking McDonald's cheeseburger, which is barely meat anyway.
Not meat. I mean, right? They did all those studies about Taco Bell meat, and they were like, it's fucking barely meat.
Taco Bell meat they have an acceptable amount of filler that they're allowed to have. And
it's just nonsense.
It's some nutty number. Like, pull out, what's the acceptable number of Taco Bell filter?
I had a friend that worked at a fast food restaurant I'm not going to name, and their graded meat was like G, I believe. It was G grade, which is lower than dog food or something like that. But like, shit still tasted okay. I mean, but
if you're hungry, you'll shove it down your fucking maw.
You fucking need it.
Ugh.
Did you see what happened at this World Series game the other day? Did you see the news?
No.
They introduced Trump and the First Lady, and they got booed. Do you know this?
Yeah, it's going around last night.
There's 2 different versions of the story I saw.
Yeah,
CNN was saying that they were yelling out, lock her up. But then
I didn't hear that. I just saw the boo clip.
Another thing was saying that they were saying, lock him up.
Yeah, I saw lock him up.
I think it was lock him up is what they were chanting.
CNN had it where they were saying people were chanting, lock her up.
Well, I just said the other thing, too, is he was generally the president throws out the first pitch.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that because he's already thrown one out somewhere, and it didn't look very good. Yeah.
Unathletic fuck.
You want to talk about those? We got some clips in the vault of people that can't throw baseballs on the first
pitch.
Mean
Judd Apatow?
It's my favorite fucking clip.
Him and Gary Delabate.
Him, 50 Cent. There's a few people that
cigar?
have fucking. No, I can't right now. I'm good.
Well, your stomach?
Yeah, I don't want to fuck
really?
with it.
Is it that bad, bro?
It's fine, but I don't want to. I don't want to dance on the edge.
Ooh, these are.
Did you see what I tweeted? I tweeted this morning. Burr and
CNN. I typed in lock her up. It's just putting back lock him up.
Hold on, Burr and Kreischer have a podcast now called Bill and Bert Podcast.
Yes.
And I made fun of them. You should pull up the image for it because they have a cigar and a glass of whiskey in their icon. But I go, what is up with this cigar dick you guys got as your fucking image? Look at this thing. Look at that. What's up with that cigar cock? That is not. I go, you got to get someone to reanimate that, bro. That is a weird looking cigar.
That looks like a dick.
It looks like a fucking dick, dude.
Why is it all rounded off at the tip?
That's what I said, dude.
The Bill Burt Podcast. All those people, whoever you're hiring in All Things Comedy, pay them some real money. They're mad at you. They're mad at you, and
These
they're
guys
making
are
things
dicks.
look like dicks.
It's fucking. Wait, so what did it say? Did it say lock him up or lock her up? It was lock him up, right?
Lock him up is what I was saying. Yeah.
They booed the president. Has that ever happened at a fucking baseball game?
No, people are very riled up.
Man, yeah. Well, here was the other thing that I saw. They had a connected thing article, that I was reading with that said 51% of America is pro impeachment. But I was like, where does that fucking poll come from?
Yeah, did they ask you?
No.
They didn't ask me either.
Yeah. So who the fuck said
all
it?
those polls. Here's the problem with polls. The only people that answer polls are assholes.
Right.
If they call you up and go, "Hey, Cheeto, what do you think about this?" You go, "This is what I think. Don't call me."
Yeah.
hang up
Leave
the
me the
phone.
fuck alone.
Fuck you.
Who even can you see who conducted that poll? That nonsense, the impeachment poll.
I'm glad you called because I have some very relevant opinions about this impeachment. And if we go back to Nixon, if you really pay attention to the Nixon administration, it's arguable that Trump has been more egregious with his breaking of the Constitution.
I'm so exhausted. I wish there was no issues. This is what I wish. I wish there was no one trying to steal. There was no one trying to cheat on their taxes.
Kill.
Everybody was just doing their best and helping each other out.
Yeah.
Just a nice, small, healthy, vibrant community of people supporting each other. Fox News poll, 51% of voters favor impeachment and removing President Trump from office. That's not good.
That's a Fox poll.
When Fox says that,
Yeah, that's fuck. That's kind of fuck.
in July, it was 42%.
But I'm saying from where though? I need to know where those come
Wow,
from.
but look at that. Impeached but not removed in July was 5%, and now it's 4%. Now most people favor him being removed. Again,
I don't know who
are
says
these
whom.
people?
See,
Who?
sometimes there's good stuff at sporting events. So the other funny thing that happened was those girls showed their tits. Did you see that? That was hilarious. These two girls are behind home plate, and they're both flashing their tits. They both got banned from Major League Baseball for life, and she tweeted it, and she was like, worth it.
It is worth it.
It's awesome, dude.
Sure, she's Insta famous now.
Yeah, to her and this other girlfriend of hers. I think somebody told me they're starting a smut magazine or something, and that
Good.
was their promo.
Good for them. Get a nice
They
bra
said they're
sponsorship.
promoting breast
Cancer awareness?
cancer,
Yeah, somebody said they started a magazine or something, though,
Yeah, okay.
that they got a company on the rise.
Good for them.
Yeah, they show their
Good
tits
for
behind
them.
home plate.
How many girls make a living just showing their body to like Patreon?
Instagram is all dancing on the line of like legal picture prostitution.
Well, the best case of it is Twitter, because
Yeah.
Twitter, they allow you,
Well, you can be.
take it in the ass
Yeah.
on Twitter. There's
Yeah.
a lot of gals
Yep.
that I have to be real careful if I hand my kids one of my phones. They don't open up that fucking Twitter app, because in the feed, there's
messaged you.
there's dirty girls.
Yeah, there's filthy.
Like, take it right in the keister.
Well, I love that Twitter doesn't give a fuck. That's my favorite part about Twitter. They couldn't care less. They're like, go for it.
Well, here's what I love about them. Kyle Dunnigan, when he did that animated thing with Michael Jackson, did you
Yeah.
ever see that?
Yeah, I saw it. I loved it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Instagram pulled it
Kyle
down.
Dunnigan, the funniest fucking guy on Instagram.
Yeah.
They pulled it off of Instagram, but Twitter did not.
Yeah.
Shout out to Twitter.
Yeah,
for
hardcore
that.
Twitter cool for that shit.
What was that? Would you show me?
the Patreon website. It's called OnlyFans that some of those people use. Not everyone, but this is like showing some of the numbers that they've already been paying out.
8 million registered users?
Those are like the
70,000 content creators. Paid out to creators $150 million. Paid out to referrers 3 million referrers. So you, Cheeto,
I think if you
could refer.
I think if I refer, I get to pay. I get a kick.
You get a kick.
Hell yeah.
$3 million?
5%.
5% commission on all referrals, pay-per-view messaging and tips, live streaming feature. That's interesting. See, who could have a problem with that? If you don't have a problem with people being naked, I don't. You don't.
Nope.
If you don't have a problem with people taking naked pictures, I don't. You don't.
Nope.
Who would have a problem with that?
Not at
that
all.
That seems like the best alternative to prostitution for a lot of these gals.
I think in the world of sex work, I think that makes the most sense because this is a legit protected legal way for them to go, hey, do you want to see me get naked at my house?
Yeah.
Give me some fucking money and I'll do it.
Yeah, and no one should really have a problem with it, right?
Well, there's nothing. I mean, what could be? What could be the debatable problem with it? Is like
Smut. People that think it's eroding
Yeah.
the fabric of our society.
the Westboro Baptist Church, man. Yeah.
I think Kanye West would have an issue with it. He doesn't like porn anymore.
Well, he doesn't like cuss words now, too.
Yeah, he's done with that.
No cuss words now on the albums.
Well, he's starting a new cult.
yeah, he is.
It's clear. He's on his way. It's probably going to be huge.
You think it's going to be like a Scientology-sized thing at some point? Where it's going to be like people
if he
go to a
wants
place?
it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like he's doing it for free, though. You know, I mean, he's got a shit ton of money, and so does his gal.
Yeah, but
so, I mean...
he likes business opportunities.
He does, but I mean, I think it probably opens up the doors for his other businesses, like his Yeezys and his clothes and all that
They
shit.
said that merch wasn't free. The show was free.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It opens up the opportunities for that stuff. So he does the show, and then people are like, you know, what do I have to do to be in the cult? Get
Right.
yourself a pair of 11 Yeezys.
Just got to show up with Yeezys. We'll let you in.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You buy your way in. You'd get in. You love that shit.
I could get a few people in, I think.
You support all that shit so
See,
much.
the
You
thing
love
is,
it.
It's kind of easy to start a cult these days. It really kind of is.
Well, there's so many of them now.
Like there's so many semi-cults. You know, there's people that have followings.
Right.
You know that they you know they.
Somebody could
kinda-
argue this is a cult, though. People could argue that you've cultivated a cult.
You could argue that. However, there's absolutely no membership rituals. You
Right.
do whatever the fuck you want. No one's calling it a cult.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like some people call it a cult. Like they'll say like, "Hey, this is Santino Nation." Where you know people do stuff like that, right? Like this is a nation.
Right.
Like they'll use their name and they'll say nation, which is or army.
danger.
This is the Santino Army. You're
Right.
part of the Santino Army. Yeah, we're on this together.
We're in.
It's very suspect.
do whatever he
thinking.
says.
Very, very suspect thinking, like that kind of shit.
Well, it just gives weight. People obey people's word a little bit too much without knowing shit. So they just are like, it's something to hold on to. So
Yeah.
maybe if their lives are shitty and dull and boring, they hear something and they're like, I agree with a good amount of that. And then they fucking latch onto it. That's where it gets scary. Because then people can convince you to do anything. We were talking about those guys, the Proud Boy shit. We were talking about that this weekend. It's
Yeah,
like,
if you start a group, the thing about groups is you're now if you're the leader, like let's say you start the Red Boys.
yeah,
Okay. When you're
the Ginge Boys.
the leader. You're the founder and the leader of the Red Boys.
Yeah.
But if you just let any ginger in the group, there's a lot of wacky gingers out there.
I'd
Just
say
like
the
there's
majority
wacky
of them.
people. And
Yeah.
when people join groups and you start this group and they're saying, I'm acting as one of the Red Boys, well, you're now sort of in some way connected to whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah.
So if they decide to get radicalized and do a bunch of really fucked up things, you know, and go after people who don't have red hair or whatever the fuck they decide to do, you're now at least somehow connected to them.
Yeah, because I started the shit.
Yes. I mean, that's
creepy, though.
it is. It's fucking groups of
there's
people.
too
are
many,
weird, man.
too many. But I think like the influence online is what's creepy to me. Is people can, people like remember meetups. Meetups have somewhat gone away, but like at one point people were doing these meetups where like kids who were famous on Instagram. They
Yeah.
just loved the idea of being like, come meet me at this park at
Yeah.
12, and fucking thousands of people would go.
Well, you see what Kevin Hart used to do? He used to have people run with him.
No,
Like, meet me, and we're gonna run a 5K.
shut up. Would he do that?
Yeah, man.
That's
Hundreds
insane.
and
With
hundreds of people
tons of
would run with
strangers?
him. Oh yeah.
Nah, so stupid.
You never seen it?
Why would he do
See
that?
if you got a video of it. Kevin Hart, he would do it at shows. Like, say if he would show up in Milwaukee or whatever, and he had a concert he was doing there, he would set up like a 5K, and they would all run.
Nah, fuck that.
Well, he's a positive guy, and he's trying to promote positive things like health and fitness and just being active.
You could do that without inviting people to run with you.
Sounds like
I don't want anybody fucking run with me,
well,
dude.
you don't run anyway,
Yes, I do.
do you? How
Yeah.
often?
Every 2 or 3 days.
Really?
Yeah,
Where do you run?
in the neighborhood.
No shit.
I run a minimum of 4, but an average of like maybe 5 or 6. I don't
Well,
go.
you're
I don't
one
go
of
near
those-
8.
You're a silent runner. You don't tell anybody. You just
Fuck
have
no.
to
I do
run.
everything silent.
Look at these Kevin Hart running by a lake. That's a beautiful lake. Where is
Jesus
that, Jamie?
Christ, that's cool.
Is it DC?
Look at all those people. Yay. Everybody seems so happy.
Yeah, they.
See,
Yeah,
they're all
they-
healthy, running. That girl at the bottom right, I don't think she's running.
no, I want to know how many people were there that didn't run. That were just like, we showed up. They
Most of
bailed.
them.
Yeah.
But look at that. That's a positive thing right there.
Nike gave him a fat check for this.
You think so?
This is all Nike. Fuck yeah.
Oh, there's a Nike logo.
It's Nike
up
Pro-
there.
this
This
is-
is Nike.com.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is
all Nike, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is
Okay,
some
now-
executive at Nike.
Now I'm not so excited.
Someone goes, Kev, we got the
Still,
idea.
forget about it. The fact, look, he's a businessman.
It's
and
a smart-
he's
it's a smart
positive
move.
On top of it. What
I
are you
want,
doing? Checking
I want to
text
know. I want to
messages?
show you something. I saw this on the toilet this morning. This made me think. Look at how crazy this is. This guy, you could look this up. This guy, a cop pulled him over, thought he was drunk, and he blew. He like
Yes,
blew, and he turns
yeah.
out he was brewing beer in his own stomach.
Yes, I heard about
I
this
thought
guy.
of you this morning. I was
He's
like,
growing alcohol in his
Yeah.
own body.
it's a rare syndrome called autobrui something. You have to look it up. It's fucking insane.
No one believed him when he said he hadn't been drinking. Then researchers found his body was producing alcohol. That guy on the right, it looks like his body's producing alcohol.
Yeah, right now,
Arr!
swollen.
Taking shots. Interesting, man. Researchers at Richmond University Medical Center in New York eventually discovered that the man was telling the truth. He wasn't downing beers or cocktails. Instead, there was yeast in his gut that was likely converting carbohydrates in the food he ate to alcohol. In other words, his body was brewing beer.
That's auto brewery syndrome.
Wow.
Auto brewery syndrome.
Is that common?
ABS. No, there's gut fermentation syndrome.
How many fucking people have that?
Yeah, I've never heard of it
Another
before.
lady 3 years ago.
Whoa. Women claims her body brews alcohol, has DUI charge dismissed. But was she hammered?
That dude in the previous article was 2.5 times the legal limit.
This was 4 times the legal limit she blew.
She blew it, right? But was she feeling the effects of it, or is it just in her blood?
No, it's in their blood.
So-
He doesn't feel it. I don't think you exert any symptoms of being drunk. I think it's just,
Really? Are you guessing?
yeah, I think that's what the article said.
I'm in touch with 30 people who believe they have the same syndrome. About 10 of them are diagnosed with it, said Panola College Dean of Nursing Barbara Cordell, who has studied the syndrome for years. They can function at alcohol levels such as 0.30 and 0.40 when the average person becomes comatose or dying.
Yeah, these people are functioning.
Part of the mystery of this syndrome is how they can have these extremely high levels and still be walking around and talking. Well, this bitch needs to talk to drunks. We know a lot of people. We know a lot of people who could function. Who do you know that Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer probably does everything he does at
Yeah.
like 0.50.
Imagine
These
if
are
he
lightweights.
also had this, if he had ABS and he drinks like he drinks.
See my Instagram picture, Bert, today?
He looks good.
He looks fucking great.
He looks really
That's
good.
legit.
Yeah.
You know, and Whitney was like, "What Instagram filter is this?" Like, unless he's doing what some of my wife's friends do. My wife's friends are fucking. They're cartoonists. Look at that.
Where they're able to like
They're
Photoshop
not
and all that
really
shit.
taking pictures. They're
No.
cartoonists.
Yeah.
These bitches run filters on these pictures, and they shrink their legs down,
Right.
and they fuck with their friends. Like they make their friend's butt a little smaller or their arms a little bigger.
Really, that's so diabolical,
Yeah,
man.
they do weird things.
Would
They-
you ever think to do
they
anything
make
like
their friends chin just a little.
Give them a
just
fucking
little-
double chin
A
and
little
shit?
Jay Leno-ish. They definitely do that to each other. And they call each other up. Hey, take this one down. I don't like how my waist looks.
No, you look great.
No, you look amazing.
That bird picture, by the way, the lighting is pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie.
Go back to the picture. There's almost nothing you could do about the side
No,
handles.
but that lighting
no,
is
no.
good.
Save it. Look at his sides.
Wait, that looks a little manipulated there,
Bro,
Jamie. What
it's
is
not
that?
manipulated. It's not manipulated. Trust me. Bert is not that guy.
He's not smart enough to do that. That's right.
No. That's not what I'm saying. He's not a liar. Like, look, Bert would not do that. That's what he looks like. He's been fucking working out hard. He's
has.
down to like 225. Look at it. Ari wrote there. He's raising his arms and sucking his belly. Tell him to post an in-action side shot of him on stage. Ari's such a hater.
Well, they've got some beef now after the dosing
Segura
episode.
says- yeah, well, Bert should have beat, not Ari.
Yeah.
Ari fucking dosed him. Ari shouldn't
Ari's
have
just
any
mad
beef.
that it didn't land the way he wanted. Like Ari's upset that Bert didn't like laugh it off and have fun with it.
Who the fuck laughs off getting dosed with
Trust
Molly?
me, dude. I fucking
Nobody.
Dose me would be fucking. I think they should fight it out. Let him fucking slug it out a little while. I think Bert wants to fucking kill him for that.
Who would win that fight?
It'd be a
Bert or
fun fight to watch because Ari's squirrely. He's got that like he's like lanky and long and fucking. He could put up a good fight. Bert's got probably maybe a reach on him. I don't know how much taller he is.
Well, Ari is very tall.
Yeah, he's tall.
What is Ari, like 6'3"?
Yeah, he's jiu-jitsu background too, a little bit, right?
A little bit. I bought him a year. He probably went until he got staph, and that was about basically the end of his
That's
career.
when most people would quit.
He got a bad staph infection on his knee, man. It was horrible. Swole up. Like he was walking with a limp.
That shit can kill you.
Oh yeah, he didn't even know he had it. He thought it was a mosquito, a spider bite.
And he just let it go for a
Bro,
while.
we were playing pool, and he was walking around with a limp. I'm like, "What's wrong with your leg?" And he goes, "I got a spider bite." And obviously, I've done jiu-jitsu forever, and I know that sometimes people think it's a spider bite and it's staph. So I said, "Let me see." He pulls his knee up. I go, dude, and I unscrew my pool cue. I go to the emergency room right now. I go, you have a bad staph infection.
Yeah.
He thought I was fucking with him. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, I am dead serious. This can kill you. I'm not kidding. His fucking knee was all swollen.
Yeah.
He had a real clear staph infection. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not a doctor, but that is fucking staph. And then he was angry, and he had a really good point. He's like, why don't they have signs in the gym?
Yeah.
Like, you take jujitsu, and it's up to everybody to tell you what staph is. Because Junior Dos Santos just pulled out of his fight. He was supposed to fight Alexander Volkov, but he got nasty staph in his leg, like his lower leg, like his calf area, all swollen and red and funky because he got a staph infection. The same thing. Like, he was like, why is it? It hurts. It's like painful. Like, he thought like maybe like, you know, sometimes you clash shins.
Sure.
You do it a lot.
But you
know?
get a cut and then it just gets infected.
Yeah.
Like
Could
my
be just a
cousin had
scratch.
MRSA. You know what MRSA is?
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst.
It's the worst.
That's the worst version of staph. It's like staph turns into MRSA.
Well, it's medication-resistant staph.
Right.
Staphylococcus, whatever the
But it's like the
medication stuff.
extreme version.
Yes, it's staph that you find in hospitals, unfortunately.
Right.
Because a lot of times that kind of staph is immune to medication.
He doesn't even know how he got it. But I mean, it's that stuff you can fucking lose like
oh,
a
yeah,
hand and
man.
shit over it.
Yeah,
It's wild.
one of my wife's friends got staph and she went into a fucking coma. She started having seizures.
Jesus.
She got it from a gym, from a dirty gym. Just like lifting weights and shit. Sitting on those machines doing like lat pull downs. She got a little scratch, something happened. Next thing you know, she has this infection, doesn't know what it is, it gets systemic. And next thing you know, she's fucking going into shock. You know, her body's freaking out.
That's why when I use a gym, like the gym I go to is like immaculate clean, and I still walk around, like even in the bathroom, I'm in fucking flip-flops. I'm never, ever, since playing high school sports, you learn. It's like my dad was always like, don't be fucking walking around those locker rooms. You have cuts on your feet, you have shit splat. You're bound to catch something
One
nasty.
of Callan's friends' wives died from it.
From an infection on her foot?
They were trying to go all homeopathic. They were like trying to cure with like fucking parsley and herbs and shit.
Smacking it with leaves.
Callan went over the house and she was bleeding from her gums.
Oh my God.
And he was like, what the fuck is going on? You got to get her to a hospital.
Yeah.
She died.
They just refused to go to the doctor.
I don't know, man. I don't know
absurd.
the whole story. Callan told it to me years ago. He told it to me when I first got staph. And I was like, what? And I remember I was on heavy doses of antibiotics to the point where like I was fuzzy. Like everything was fuzzy. Like everything was like confusing.
You couldn't think straight?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My brain was dog shit. Because believe it or not, your gut, like what's inside your gut, affects your personality. It affects your ability to think, your energy levels. And when you have staph, they fucking dose you up, son, with heavy duty antibiotics. And I couldn't believe that people fight on that. Sometimes they fight on antibiotics when they have staph.
Because you're just not in. You're just totally out of it.
I couldn't believe it. I could barely make a fist. I'm like, how the fuck could anybody fight like this? Luke Rockhold beat Chris Weidman for the UFC middleweight title when he was on staph medication, which is like
total and
fucking incredible.
Could function on it,
He fucking beat Chris Weidman.
That's fucking insane.
Insane. I have no idea how he did it. He had like a nasty staph infection. He wound up actually getting a chunk of meat removed from his shin. And it's fucked him up so bad, like to this day, when he fights, and he only fought once with this, he has to have like a wrap over his entire shin. And he had skin grafts and all kinds of shit, and it didn't totally take. So he has like an open wound on his shin, like forever. So he has like this big bandage over his shin, and then everything's wrapped up, and then he puts like a sleeve over it, like a
to
compressor.
protect the skin?
Yeah, a compression sleeve over his calf and shin.
There's so much of that shit that's in sports, like what's it called? It's always around high schools. They're always worried about people getting it from like water fountains and shit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Herpes? Crabs?
Yeah, herpes. That's
Meningitis?
Meningitis, yeah. I knew a kid in high school that had meningitis. He lost a hand and a foot from meningitis, from like from high school shit, because you're around all these kids with all these fucking diseases and sicknesses, and it's like this little incubator.
Her kid got paralyzed from getting meningitis from one of those fucking water parks.
Well, that's where usually it comes from. Something water. It happens in water a lot, apparently.
You get that water gets in your ears and gets in your fucking mouth. There was a comic who died from meningitis.
Do I know who he is?
Name? Yeah, god damn it, redheaded kid, really nice guy.
Me?
That's a kid from New York. God damn it. He was flying out to do Fantasy Island. Jerry Wilson. Yeah, he died from meningitis. He was apparently in the doctor's office, but it was taking too long to get seen by the doctor. He's waiting for like 45 minutes. Like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. And he left. He wound up dying.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How did he get it? Do you know how he got it from?
Do not know. He was a nice guy too, man. Funny kid too. And his career was just starting to take off. This is like in the 90s.
That's kind of.
I knew him from New York.
Yeah.
We knew each other from the clubs. And then he came out here. I had been living out here for like a year or so. And he came out here and he is like, shit was popping for him. He had a development deal to do a TV show. He was doing the new Fantasy Island. Do you remember when they had Fantasy Island?
I know it, yeah.
They brought it back. He was doing the new Fantasy Island.
And then he just refused to fucking go get
and he
seen
got
again?
on a plane.
Jesus
he got on a
Christ.
plane, and I think he actually flew to Hawaii to do the show. And when he got out there, he was fucked. By the time he got there, he was fucked.
It's always sad when you hear people that, like, I don't know if he had not that he did, but you know when people have instructions to not get on a plane, this happens all the time. People are like, fuck that shit, and then they die because of it.
Yeah,
It's like that dude that was in Dave Matthews Band.
What happened?
He had surgery. You got to look it up to make sure I'm not fucking out of my butt. But
Are you making things up?
yeah, I'm making it up.
It's fun to make things up. Remember the old days?
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about
things
it.
up.
Yeah. Just make it up
Sitting
all
around
day.
drinking beer, talking shit. People just tell you lies, and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't know that you can get cancer from that."
You're like, yep, sure can. Give me another beer, Jimmy. Yeah, he died. I think he had surgery and he got on a plane. Right.
There he is.
Leroy Moore, right?
Leroy Moore.
And he got on a fucking plane after the doctors told him not to fucking fly, and he did, and then he died.
2008.
Because he had
46
some kind of
years old.
weird surgery, right?
He had an accident on his ATV.
Right.
Punctured lung.
Right.
Maybe it was that because the air
He
pressure. or
died from
something.
that? Wow. Oh, pneumonia.
Blood clot.
He got pneumonia.
Those things are different.
He died from a blood clot. The coroner's office determined his cause of death to be pneumonia. Wow. Fuck.
But I don't know if it's going to say it on there. I'm almost positive that they told him not to get on a fucking plane, and he did anyway.
Bro, how much does it take? How many years does it take off a flight attendant's life?
I mean, they all look so sad now. They look sadder than they did when I was young. Why is that, dude? They all look so fucking sad. Did the pay get worse?
It can't be good.
No, it never was good. But people used to do it usually because they were like, I could fly for free, and so can everybody in my family. But now everyone I see, every flight we take, they look fucking miserable.
Maybe it's you. You're handing out barf bags and shit.
I know.
Throwing up all over yourself in the bathroom.
Clean this up. Even the ones that I have a good feeling about, even they seem like bummed the fuck out.
Yeah?
Even when I'm like, hey, how you doing? They're like, hi, do you want something before we leave? I just feel like it's a tough gig, man. That's a tough fucking gig to constantly be like, you know what it really is? Because people are such pieces of shit, and we're becoming more pieces of shit. Like, nobody obeys any of the fucking rules about like overhead space and any of that stuff. And I think it's extreme now because people are like, I'm not checking my fucking bag.
It is.
I'll stuff it in the roof.
People do get a little cunty, though. Some lady and this guy got a little cunty with me on the flight over because all the overhead bins were full. And I was in one row, and they were like 4 rows behind me. And I went back there, and I moved some stuff around and put my bag up there. And the guy's like, you think he would use the bin that's above his head?
Right.
I'm like, don't you think I would if it was open? Like, don't you
asshole.
look? Like, he didn't even look. Like, look at all these bags. You
Yeah.
don't see all these bags?
People cop attitudes and they get mad at this was insane. We were in Denver coming back, and a dude, they had canceled the flight, and a dude was losing it on the gate attendant. You know, he was like, you fucking asshole, da 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 da, like going off, and everyone's kind of like turned like pissed, like fucking pissed that this guy's losing on this asshole in a public space like this for no reason. And this dude is sitting on the floor, and I can tell he's like kind of bobbing and he's like reeling, and then finally he pipes up. He goes, hey, go fly another fucking airline. It's not this guy's fucking fault. And then this guy was like, oh, what do you care about it? He's like, dude, it's not his fault. If you got an issue with it, let's go take a walk. And you could tell his alpha fucking step up scared this dude to death. And he was like, don't fucking yell at that guy. That guy has nothing to do with
people do that,
it.
they're cunts. Any
Yeah.
guy who yells at someone, some flight attendant or someone who works the desk, it's not their
Turd.
call. They don't get to make the call. They're
No.
employees.
That guy at the desk, he has nothing. He doesn't. And by the way, he doesn't care.
Right.
He's like, dude, I get paid
Right.
fucking hourly. I'm barely here.
Right? He's not pretending he runs Delta or United. or
Right. But I love
whatever
what the
the
guy
fuck
said.
it
He
is.
goes, go fly another fucking airline. Because the guy kept saying, he goes, you guys do this all the time. And the dude on the ground goes, go fly another airline, bud. There's a ton of them if you're so unhappy.
Wow.
It's like, don't fucking yell at those.
You have
That
to
really,
deal with the conflict and the heat in the air.
it was thick. It was nice.
Crackling.
Well, I went up to him. I was like, dude, that's cool that you said that. And he goes, well, that guy's a piece of shit. I was like, because it's like somebody should say something.
I
But
know, but it's that leap before
Yeah.
you say something like, do I tell this guy to shut the fuck up? Because then he's my problem.
Yep.
Right now, it's not my problem.
Nope. That's what I
could be
mean. It's
my
like,
problem.
do I want to step into that world where this asshole then becomes a thing with me, and then it's a whole thing?
Well, it could become violence.
Yeah,
You never
it's-
know.
It's just, and you don't know this freak.
If
you
he's
know what I mean?
that dumb that he's yelling at some lady that works there or some
Right.
guy that works there,
Exactly.
he's a fucking moron. Who knows what kind of shitty judgment that guy's going to have?
He was bald with a ponytail. If that says everything, that says everything.
That's
you know?
everything.
It's everything, man.
That's a terrible look.
You know that guy.
Unless he's Tong Po. Stop it.
Stop it. Bald ponytail is such
Why
a
would
choice.
anybody do that? Why would you do bald ponytail?
It's so funny, man.
Is there a girl out there that fucks guys only who are bald with ponytails?
Sadly, yeah.
Come on.
Sadly, someone
Really?
fucks the bald ponytail guy. If he,
How's that work?
what's his game?
Yeah.
Money.
Speaking of bald ponytail, did you see what happened in the game when LeBron's hair fell off?
Somebody showed me a photo, but I thought that looked so. Was
Bro,
that real?
No, it's real. Look, the guy is a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
He's a god amongst men.
Yeah.
He's a giant super athlete with a really well-shaped head. What the fuck, man?
Shave your head, bud.
Shave your goddamn head.
Fill up that picture because I want to see the fucking. I
He's
think that's-
got some nonsense glued on his head. That's like not his hair.
He has a toupee.
Look at that. Look at that. See, his
Holy
hair moved up, and someone had to tell him. Says, "Oh, thanks, bro." So you get the bandana back in place. His hair moved.
Wait, why did he?
Yeah,
did
he's
that-
got some shit glued on his head. Bro, the guy, he's handsome. He's a superior physical specimen.
LeBron's hair falls out during game.
Oh, God. Go
That's
full
a
screen,
terrible
Jamie. Full
There
screen.
it goes. It's disappearing.
Anthony Davis is telling him, "Hey, dog, your hair's up. Your hair fell off, dog." Oh, he did tell him.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, he's
He
pointing to
says
your hair.
something's up with your hair.
And he's laughing. Are they friends?
yeah.
He's the
Yeah.
only guy. That's what I was telling you. He's the only guy on the team that could probably tell him that. Anybody else would get traded immediately.
Look
Probably.
at him. He's fucking with his hair. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
And that last night he didn't have the headband
Patting
on.
it
He
down.
had somebody fix it up nice.
Oh, God.
He did have the headband on.
No, did not last night.
Look at his. That's nonsense. What's going on with his hair?
Hey, something wrong with your hair.
Yo, dog. Look, he's laughing. Yo, dog. Gotta fix that. Just so weird. Like, why does he want to deal with that? You know what it is? Because he hasn't accepted it yet.
Yeah, but also he's still young. He's 35.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know, but for in his mind, he's like, I gotta still be the young guy. You
Yeah,
know.
but shave your fucking
That's like
head.
John Cena grew his hair out now. I saw him on a fucking billboard, and he has long hair, and he always had like short military cut. You know,
Well, he's trying to be a family man now.
I
We're
know, he
talking
wants
about
to be that guy.
You're talking about the movies he's doing now.
it's like a kids firefighter movie or
bad?
some bullshit. Oh come on, dude. He wants to do The Rock. He wants to be The Rock so fucking bad.
Well, it seems like a good move.
Yeah, but he won't be The Rock. The Rock is the fucking Rock. He's not gonna come anywhere near being The Rock.
Can he be John Cena?
Nope.
Can't even be John Cena?
Nope. Take
But
a
he
hike,
is.
bud.
He is John Cena.
He just wants to follow that path of like WWE guy who's like sweet and nice and affable and also strong and can play the tough guy. But The Rock is a special person. People think they're going to be that guy.
But can he be a version of that?
No.
What can he do?
No, because look what it always looks cheap. Look at fucking, what's the guy in the Fast and Furious? Who is it? What's his name?
Vin Diesel?
Yeah. It always looks cheesy. He's like, I got the family. Family over everything. He sounds cheesy, everything he does. The big tough guy thing is like, only so many guys can pull it off anymore.
Well, it has to be authentic.
It has to be
Like
be
The
who you
Rock,
are.
First of all, The Rock's an undeniable giant tough guy.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a
you look
fucking
at him,
badass.
He's a gorilla.
Yeah.
He's built like a fucking brick shit house.
Yes.
He's 6'6", stacked, super jeans, Hawaiian, gorgeous man.
Mammoth man.
Super nice. Everybody loves him. Who doesn't love The Rock?
Nobody. It's just so that
so big.
so it's
too.
authentic.
Jesus Christ, he's so big.
And John Cena's, I'm sure he's a tough guy. I'm sure he's strong. He's tough. It's just I think they all think that they can come into Hollywood and it's like an easy transfer. It's like
It's definitely not easy.
no, it's just not the same thing.
Well, you know who's doing it though? Dave Bautista. He's found his way. He has.
I know.
He's in that movie with
Stuber.
what the fuck's his
Kumail.
name? Yeah, but he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's great in those movies.
I tell you a story.
What are you gonna tell me? Tell me something.
I should.
He's great in those movies.
No, he's yeah.
He's
I
not?
did. I yeah.
Tell
yeah.
me.
I did a table read for that movie, for because I knew some of the people involved, and we were just tabling. They just want people to come and read,
Right.
and table reading for it, and Bautista, man, I felt like he didn't want to even fucking do it. Like half of the time,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No. The thing with Kumail, the Stuber thing. But he was reading it, and he was doing. I mean, he had glasses on. He was like doing this. I mean, seriously, he would go like this. He'd go. I mean, this is the script.
Right.
This is in front of like all the executives and shit.
Right.
And he would go. Time to be the guy that I need to be.
Wait a minute, but as for you.
No, dude. This is everyone. Table read, like everyone's in the room. It means like executives, producers,
So he had
directors.
never gotten a script before?
It felt like he was fucking his first time on that boat, bud. I was like, what is going on, dude?
Maybe it was.
For the studio,
Maybe that script.
that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy for him to never see that script and then do a studio table read. I shouldn't even have said that. I don't fucking whatever. I'm not in the movie.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was like. I'm just saying the difference when you meet people in this industry, in the television and film, that are like just really, really good.
Right.
It's just you see it right away. They're on it. They're fucking. I bet you The Rock is phenomenal in table reads. And table reads are important because the studio gets to see it. They get to kind of.
Right.
You're selling it a little bit. You know what I mean? The movie's gonna get fucking made. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's just like it sells you more to all of these other sources to feel like.
Yep.
This is the guy we want to get behind.
Yeah.
Because I've run into a lot of great actors and actresses in the business, and like, you can fucking tell, dude. The way that they handle things, sometimes you're like, oh man, that's why they're good. They just are like ready for it. It's like a good. It's the same way a good comedian can just turn on. You know, we can be having this conversation seconds later. You get on stage and it's like, and you just know when to produce.
Well, maybe he already got the gig and
Didn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
guess. Maybe.
Was the movie good?
I didn't see it. I don't know. Did you see
Did
it?
anybody see it?
There you go. I don't know.
You know what's a bummer to me? That fucking Will Smith movie.
What,
we
the
did a
Gemini
read for
Man?
that.
Yeah.
Nobody went to see it. Big giant box office loss. It looked fucking amazing.
But it was up against like two other, right? Didn't it come out
against the Joker?
Joker and one other film though?
Yeah. What was the
Something
other one?
else. Something else that was fucking huge. It's like you couldn't. Did you see Joker? You finally saw it, yeah?
Yeah, I saw it. I loved it.
I told you this when we were in Detroit. I nearly lost my shit. I hear in the middle of the film, in the middle of like a really serious scene, I hear someone go, they're punched in on his face. I hear a woman go, did they Photoshop a hair lip on him? I was losing it. I almost threw my popcorn. I was almost like, that's it. I'm out of here. I felt like the way I felt when I first saw the movie Belly in theaters.
You hear things
like that.
Like you hear things sometimes, like you hear things like out of nowhere.
I
heard a girl say, "In the ass is okay, but in the ass and the mouth, no fucking way." I heard a girl say
She's
that.
right. She's right.
But it's just like that combination of things when you're like, what?
You're like, I'm sorry, this is Jimmy John's. Can you?
In the
can
ass
you not?
is fine, but in the ass and in the mouth, no fucking way. Like, oh boy.
What was the context of that fucking conversation?
I don't remember.
There's a site that's dedicated to that called Overheard in L.A. Overheard in L.A. and all they do is talk about bullshit that you hear in Los Angeles. That's like stupid L.A. only phrases, you know?
Yeah.
And that's got to be one of them.
This place.
You're out.
I'm checked out because it's on fire.
I know.
It's on fire. The whole fucking place is on fire. Bel Air's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Bel Air.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got? Girl dressed as a cat. I'm almost 30. This Halloween is my last chance to fuck a guy dressed as Harry Potter.
It's great. See? It's fucking great.
Overheard in L.A. How much are those writers though that are writing that kind of stuff?
Gotta be, of course, yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure it was birthed organically. I'm sure some dude started it for fun and then it just kept going. Yeah, I'd like to go away from the fires. Northern California is even worse than we are. I think we complain, but they're really lit up.
Sonoma's on fire.
Bad.
Yeah, they get it bad.
Yeah, it's bad up there.
Yeah, that's where Henry Cejudo almost burnt to death. You can catch fires, man, everywhere that's dry. And L.A. is dry as fuck. And last year, we got a lot of rain in the winter, and everybody predicted that all this rain was going to dry out as soon as the rainy season was over. The grass was going to grow really high because of all the nutrients and all the water. And then boom, because the nutrient when you have fires and then water, it's a terrible combination because apparently all the carbon from the fire actually helps all these plants grow.
Right.
And then it just
it's overgrown, and then now it's overgrown.
Yeah.
There's all this dead shit
Dude,
now.
it's so overgrown.
Yeah.
It's so when the areas where I run, weeds were higher than I'd ever seen them before.
Right.
Like fucking 6-foot tall weeds and all that mustard grass shit. You know that stuff?
Yeah.
That fucking shit's everywhere,
Yeah,
man.
and then when that dries up, it's over. What are those things called? That like my dog gets them up. Foxtails, you know? Oh my god, dude.
Everywhere.
And that shit's dry and fucked up everywhere.
My dog gets them everywhere because he has long hair.
Yeah, Goldens are bad with that.
And he runs into the fucking bushes. He loves that shit. He's crazy.
It takes forever. We took my dog fucking camping. That was the worst shit on earth because she was just rolling around in that shit.
Oh, they love it.
And she gets back all happy, and I'm like, God damn it! I gotta pick these fucking things out for like
You
an
gotta
hour.
brush them.
Yeah,
You gotta brush them.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
We're on fire. I want to go. I wish we could go.
Where would you go? You'd go to Chicago, right?
I'd go back to Chicago. Yeah, I would. If I really could, I would. If I could just tour from Chicago and then do whatever I wanted to do every once in a while.
Why couldn't you?
So much to do here. There's so much shit here.
You know what's the problem? Friends.
Yeah, friends.
Like you and Diaz and all our friends that are here. You know, I love the fact, like last night I did that benefit for Callan's friend.
Yeah.
I go there, Schaub's there, Norm McDonald's there, we're all having fun, Callan's there, we're all laughing, hugging each other. We have a great time. Chappelle Lacey was there.
Yeah.
We're all laughing. It's so fun. I'm like, I love the fact that I could leave my house. I left my house at 8 o'clock. I'm there at 9. I'm home by like midnight. You know, not even. I think I was home at 11:30. I was only there for like an hour and a half, but I had a great time. I had a recharge of camaraderie and friendship.
You're not going to get that if you leave.
And plus, it was cool to do. You know, we did an arena Saturday night, and then go to do the main room. It's like you feel the difference to those two rooms.
Yep.
So different.
Well, you know what you ought to talk about is how fucking we were taken back by the Fox Theater was fucking insane in Detroit, huh?
Yeah, people, you could see it on my Instagram. I took videos of it and some photos, and it's the most beautiful theater. And I've worked in a lot of beautiful theaters. It's the most beautiful theater I've ever seen.
It was stunning, man. When the staff was so cool. They took us out afterwards. The show was done. We had chilled for a while. Me and Ian Edwards and Joe had gone back down to the stage, and holy shit.
Yeah,
look at how fucking incredible that is.
It's crazy. And this is from the 1920s, and they restored it. Did he say in the 80s?
80s, yeah. In the 80s, it got restored.
Fucking A, this place is beautiful. And the staff there is proud.
Yeah.
Like that dude that, I forget, I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Really nice guy that.
Look at that.
That gave us all the, and then they turned the lights down for us so we could see what it really looks like, and then turn the roof light on, because they had all these spotlights on so they could clean and get everything ready. And they turned those down for us, and then turned the house lights on so we could see all the ornate, gilded woodwork. And just like, you can't build a place like this anymore.
You can kind of see on the top row there's faces carved up there.
Yeah.
And he said they're all hand done. I mean, it's just. It was fucking unreal. Oh, he said they redid it in the 80s and 5 guys died while building it, while fixing it. And he had said when they had a guy up there cleaning, they found a helmet and like a pickaxe almost that was like placed, and the helmet was on the pickaxe. And this bozo comes down. He's like, "Hey Mick, look at this shit." And the guy was like, "Hey, put that back. That was in memory of one of the builders that died during the original construction of it. Like they had put it deep in the rafters." He found it while he was cleaning. Yeah, it was awesome. He was like, "This place is," and then right away, of course, I knew it was going to go there. After me and Joe were like, "Oh yeah, fucking yeah, this is amazing." And then he goes, "And you know it's haunted." I was like, I knew that was coming. I could tell from that. I could look from his face. He wanted to tell us that so bad.
Your mother's pussy's haunted.
Your mother's pussy's. He said somebody, George Lopez? No, he said some comic was there and could hear the knocking. Apparently, there was like knocking in the roof, and he just bitched about it half of the show. Was saying like he kept hearing the knocking while he was on stage. And I was like, really? The laughter didn't subdue the fucking knocking?
You might be bombing, bro.
Yeah, dude, you can hear the knocking.
Something about the knocking that's bothering me.
Well, dude, the other night, you said it, at the Improv, there was a cricket inside.
Oh, yeah.
It was amplified. Like, you could hear it so loud.
It was so loud. And that was both shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
both
it was
shows
insane.
Wednesday.
For the first show, I didn't hear it because Jesus made a joke right away. He goes, "Man, you know it's bad when the crickets are louder than the laughs."
He said it on stage?
Yeah. And then I was like, I didn't hear it. I went on stage. I couldn't really hear it. And then the second show, I was so loud I could hear it. It must have been up in the roof and something.
No, it was over near the piano somewhere.
Oh, the piano.
It was over right underneath the fucking, it was amplifying
The piano.
With the piano.
Joe loves the piano at the Hollywood Improv. That's
It's
his
my favorite
item.
thing. I love the fact that it takes up seats. I love the fact that it gets in the way of the people that are sitting over there. They don't have a good view of the show. I love the fact that it's fucking useless and no one plays piano there. They say Craig Robinson uses it. Craig Robinson has his own fucking keyboard.
Brings his keyboard.
Brings it everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Whenever he does shows, it's not hard. Puts it in his trunk.
Yep.
You know, ain't
I see
hard.
him.
Yeah.
They have one there for him too.
Oh yeah,
by the way. They have a keyboard.
roll that bitch out. You don't need that stupid fucking piano.
easy.
Then they have 2 stupid fucking pianos. They have one upstairs in the green room.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Bud, you know Bud probably loved pianos. That's all.
Pianos and monocles.
I love pianos. He must have fucking loved it to buy 2 pianos. It is an old idea. Did the store
used to have a piano
right?
right next to the stage
In the main room.
Like when you would stand by the stage, Jeff Scott would play piano like he does in the main room.
Yeah.
Do they still play piano in the main room or in the OR rather?
Keyboard in the OR.
Keyboard.
Yeah, he's got a keyboard over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they used to have a piano in the main room.
Yeah, I
So
do
keyboard
remember
in the
it.
OR, piano in the. Is that the only club that still has a professional keyboardist?
I've never
that plays you up?
Down in San Diego at the Comedy Store.
Another comedy store.
Yeah, he plays.
Yeah.
He plays down there too. Sweet Lou. He plays he plays a keyboard down there.
Might be the most underrated room in the world.
Yeah,
Comedy Store La Jolla.
La Jolla's fucking phenomenal.
Might be the most underrated.
It's phenomenal. It's actually I've talked about this before. It's the perfect shape and size and number because it's a nice box. It's low and quiet and black. The stage is not too high. It's great. It's like the OR in LA, but it's on one. You know what I mean?
Some guys have DePaulo filmed or recorded one of his comedy specials there.
At
A
La Jolla?
CD. Yeah, he recorded a CD there. It's a fucking great place to do stand up.
It is. No, it's packed constantly because those people down there, they don't want to make the drive to come up to fucking LA, and there's nothing around there club-wise.
Yeah, you get American Comedy Company in San Diego. They can go there, but La Jolla is so beautiful.
La Jolla is beautiful, man.
If I lived in La Jolla, I wouldn't want to go anywhere.
We said that if we were going to go down to San Diego, you move to La Jolla.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful.
The fucking cliffs. You ever see the view off the cliffs there?
Yeah, eat breakfast over there. It's so nice, man.
It's stunning.
It's a great little pocket, you know?
You can walk to Tijuana. How crazy is that?
I don't want to do that shit.
How crazy is that?
We were saying that in the car. We were like, San Diego is this like beautiful, pristine city with a lot of money. You know, I'll argue not a ton of culture, but you know that's okay.
How dare you?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you've seen some of the shit I fucking.
Dare you?
Yeah, okay. And then you cross the fucking border, and TJ is like, donkeys, fucking women, marshmallow shows, fucking chicklets.
What's a marshmallow show?
You know, where they shoot marshmallows out of their pussy.
Do they really?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
What kind of force do you have to generate to get a marshmallow?
Dude, you gotta have strong
flying?
muscles.
What does it sound like? Yeah. Ping pong balls.
I've seen ping pong.
Stanhope told me a story about some lady in Thailand that could chew up bananas with her pussy and spit out chunks of it. She'd take a banana, stuff it in her pussy, and chop it up.
In my head, I just saw it has teeth. Like it's like.
Well, she just had a fucking severe pinch.
Yeah.
Some girls have stronger pussies than other girls.
Fuck yeah.
That is just a fact. And I think some gals just let the pussy be what it is.
Yeah.
Get it in there. Oh, we both feel good. It feels amazing.
We're good.
And some girls are like, no. You can put a little extra in there. Just put a little extra
Check this
sauce. Some girls just know how to squeeze it.
Genetics, or is there's training too?
No, Kegels, man. There's
Kegels.
exercises.
Yeah.
But it's just the act of squeezing it. I think every girl can squeeze it. But the act of actively squeeze, it requires work.
I know when you feel
Right?
the squeeze, it's awesome.
Well, it's also, it feels great no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Vagina is a perfectly designed thing.
Yeah.
Out of all the things in nature to have sex with, vagina is number one. It's the best.
Let me think for a second.
I don't know. I haven't really fucked with a lot of different things.
Yeah, no.
But a vagina is about as good as it gets. Like nature's designed it so that you spooge really quickly so that you can make a baby while the lions are coming after you. That's how it was invented.
Come and go.
Because it's supposed to be like, run, fucking leopards.
That's how you know we're getting lazier as a culture because we're trying to hold out as long as we can.
Yeah. Well, it's just weird. You know, we're so
Holding.
safe. We're so safe. We're trying to not come. How about those assholes that try to like come internally? You know, they do tantric.
The sting.
They don't come. They get just have sex for hours.
Tantric sex. Fuck that.
And they come internally. Like their body absorbs it, and they don't shoot any loads.
How weird to not shoot a load. Actually, the first time I jerked off, I didn't shoot. It scared me.
What did you do?
I jerked off and I came and I think I stopped and nothing came out and it freaked me the fuck out.
Nothing came out?
Nope.
How do you know you came?
Because I feel like I came.
But you were so young, you'd never come before.
32. I just remember the first time, and then I did it again later that night, and I did come. But I was scared. I don't know. I was freaked out.
You know what Eddie Bravo told me?
Huh.
He told me when he was young, he was dating this girl, and she was always worried that he was cheating on her. And so that if he would come, she would get upset if it wasn't that much. She's like, how come you didn't come that much? He's like, what?
Measuring my load?
There wasn't that much cum. Did you fuck around? And he was like, what?
She kept thinking he was...
You imagine like someone's like
measuring it?
judging the amount of projectile, the amount of ejaculate.
I mean, well, was he?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Maybe she was
I
keen.
forgot.
She's like, this load is light. It's a little light load
It's a
here,
little
pal.
light. Yeah, it's like when someone sells you an eighth of weed, you're like,
This looks a little suspect.
this bag feels a little on the light
Oh,
side.
dude, this annoyed me so much. I saw an article that said they are finally they're at the final stages of making odorless weed. This company in Colorado is making odorless
Fuck
weed.
them.
That's what I said. Get the
Fuck
fuck
them.
out of here, dude.
Here's the thing about weed. It only smells to other people. When you're smoking, it doesn't smell.
No, well, it's delicious.
But isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like when you're getting high, you're like, I don't smell anything.
Yeah, that's true. You really
and then
can't.
People walk in the room like, what the fuck? Did someone kill a skunk in this room? Holy shit, boys.
Yeah,
like,
these
what, you
guys-
smell weed?
These guys are trying to make everyone's trying to manipulate weed to be everything not weed. Just fucking leave weed alone. This is how those people died from that vape shit. They made all that fake weed pods or
No,
whatever.
this is how they died from that vape shit. They vape 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, that's
Take
gonna happen
that
too.
robot dick out of your mouth, you fucking weirdo.
USB
I was at
stick.
my doctor's office the other day, and I got on the elevator. It's one of my favorite things. When a guy gets on the elevator stinking of weed,
Yeah,
and then he recognizes me. I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, yeah, I had to get my head straight. He goes, for work, but it's my job. I mean, it's my company, so it's all right. I go, okay.
Well, what did he do?
He was, I don't know, but he was
Something
high as
medical-
fuck.
Yeah.
But it was a medical office building. I mean, maybe you can can't you rent an office there if you're not?
Sure. Yeah, you don't have to
guess-
be in the field. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to get my head straight, Joe.
Yeah, he's like, I had to get my head straight. He stunk of weed. Woo!
I like it when I walk by it and you can smell it somewhere and you're like, all right. It just is
Yeah.
like a nice little pick me up for the day. That
Right,
you're like,
hotel rooms.
good for
like when you
them.
pass in a hotel room, like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
right
they're
there,
there.
right there.
Yeah, yeah.
How funny is it? Ohio still. You
Yeah.
have to have AIDS and cancer and
Losers.
leprosy. Still.
I know someone that got it without that.
What'd they do?
Yeah, shoulder surgery or something like that.
Yeah, but come on.
But what happens after surgery? Is
Yeah, I don't
like-
know when he has to renew it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what happens there, but
But just right over in Michigan, free weed. There's fucking billboards everywhere,
Yeah, it
just
was
like
awesome.
LA. It's spreading across the country. It's nice. It's a nice feeling like when you're in the car and you drive and you see, the best cannabis in Michigan. You're like, all right.
Right on.
All right, you guys did it. Welcome to the 21st century.
Dude, we were talking here in LA. They finally have full legal cannabis cafes where you can eat dinner and get hot. You can get served by a bud tender and dinner.
Yeah, that's
Lowell.
Lowell Cafe. They're a
Yeah.
sponsor of the podcast.
They're fucking awesome, dude.
Have you eaten there?
No, my
I heard the
buddy
food
just
is
went.
amazing.
Yeah. He said the food was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But he says you get full bud tenders, like really nice meals. He's like, the ambiance is gorgeous. It was this old, I remember where it was too. It's an old shitty shut down like in the corner of LA when it's like it used to be a gas station, then it's like they sell junk. You know what I mean? It's just like a junk pit, of like sometimes it's like a flower sale place or whatever, signs. And they gutted that, cleaned it out, turned it into this gorgeous restaurant with all this beautiful foliage on the outside. It's really nice, man.
Well, here's the thing about cigarettes. Cigarettes kill your taste buds.
Yeah.
Weed enhances your taste buds, which is
Yep.
people don't know. Like when you smoke weed and then eat, food tastes better.
Oh, it's so much better.
It does. It's
Even
like-
shit I don't like tastes better.
yeah, but also, like, do you think if you were high as fuck, you'd be able to tell there's something wrong with those vegetables that you ate?
Probably. Probably.
So you'd be like,
God, that's so funny.
something's wrong.
If I turn and I go, dude, these are something's weird about this. I'm not going to eat this shit
wrong.
anymore. No, instead I was just like, but that's got to be, and that's got to be true though, that it enhances in the right way. That's like magic fruit. We've talked about that.
What's magic fruit?
You can order this online. Magic fruit changes the chemical composition of your taste buds on your tongue for about 15 to 20 minutes.
What is it?
So sour things taste sweet. You can.
We talked about this?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
When did we talk about it? During the podcast?
I think we did. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
You remember
magic
that?
fruit.
not on this one. But I know about it for sure.
Oh, so
But-
maybe you talked about it with another person.
Yeah, you
cheating on
should
me.
Google the real name. I don't know what the magic fruit real name is, but but it's a berry. It's like the nut of a berry, and you eat it. And when you put it in your mouth, it doesn't taste great. Or you put the dissolved tablets they have now, and your whole tongue, the composition of your tongue changes. So like you could eat a lemon and it tastes sweet.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's fucking miracle fruit.
Miracle
Sorry.
fruit.
Senespium deliciosum.
Sinespalum
Dolphaceum.
Dolphaceum. Look at you. You're really good with Latin.
Dolphaceum.
Dude, do you have a Latin education?
Yeah, man.
Plant known for its berry when eaten causes sour food subsequently consumed to taste sweet. The effect is due to miraculin.
Yeah.
Miraculin sounds too close to mescaline.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if you ordered one, you got the other?
Hey, well, still have a good night.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's wild, man. A good friend of mine did it at a dinner party, and we were because a lot of people were skeptical. They were like, I don't know. He's like, you should try it. So then for appetizers, he would give us this, and they had a platter of different things to try out that were usually sour, and it's insane how sweet it tastes.
So what about a sweet fruit like a melon? What would that taste like?
Well, everyone has, when you taste sugars, it tastes different on everyone's tongue when you're on this fruit. So for some people, it tastes dull, and other people, it tastes kind of like off, like it's not.
Oh.
It's not the correct flavor profile. So like some people taste, like for me, sugary stuff tasted kind of dull or like numb.
Like an apple? It tastes dull?
Apple's not sweet enough. Like an orange, like an orange slice would have. It just tastes kind of
Flat.
Flat. Yeah, flat. It's weird.
Interesting. I never know about that.
I never even heard about it. Yeah, see that? Yeah.
Every day.
The more you know. The more you know. But that stuff, I wish there was more shit like that for food when you ate it that like
makes it taste better?
Yeah, it makes different things taste better. That like that gets rid of the one part that's nasty. Like I like blue cheese, but then sometimes if I eat it, I taste too much of the fucking.
Oh, I love that stuff. I love it.
If it's too much,
cheese,
I'm
I'll
like,
eat a giant bar of blue cheese.
I could do it. I can't. Now look at that. Yeah, Jamie loves
Jamie's
it.
face. I love blue cheese.
It's just in small doses I'm okay with it, but if it's too much of the guffy cheese stuff, I can't.
I
do
enjoy steak as is.
Yeah.
I don't need anything on steak, but I've had steak like a filet mignon with like a blue cheese crumble on top. God damn it.
Phenomenal. We had good steaks at dinner that Jamie missed because he couldn't come see us and hang out.
Up. Yeah, you fucked up, bro.
Fucking dork.
Jamie got one of them cool front wallets, a Ridge wallet, which I have too. They're the best. And they have RFID protection. But has that ever happened to you? Has anybody ever scanned your credit card?
I've been wondering about that. If people, I remember like Dateline, especially, like people can scan you when you're walking by.
They can do that, but does
anybody ever do that?
I'm sure they do.
I definitely think they have done it.
Okay.
But how do they do it? Do they have to be right on top of it? Like, how's that work?
No, they have to be within a certain amount of distance. Just like on the bank scanner, same thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard they have to be within a few feet of you. That's pretty. I think subways, places like that, you're more susceptible where you're sitting next to someone for a long period of time.
And they just like.
Yeah, and they're right near you.
Run a scan.
Walking by you has got to be so hard to pick it up.
Well, so Jamie has his Ridge wallet, but he also has sweatpants.
Yeah, don't.
And he also had his feet up on the chair in front of him.
He's chilling.
His legs were up in the air like he was giving birth, and his shit fell out of his pocket.
ID, credit cards.
Yeah, he lost it.
No cash though, right?
No cash. Maybe $20. I don't know.
Yeah.
And your ID, so you couldn't come see us, man.
You fucked up,
You
bro.
fucked
and
up.
he might be fucked up so hard that he can't come to New York next week for Masvidal versus Diaz. Not even next week. Saturday night.
5 days.
Yeah, Saturday night. He doesn't know when he's going to get his ID.
Are you in process right now?
Yeah.
Did you try to get a passport?
So there's a couple of things that I thought you could do. Apparently you can't do. So there's a confusion on what that is, the ability for that. The actual card is now on the way in the mail, through the state. So now it's just in the hands of the state.
You'll get it in a month.
The only time I ever lost it in Ohio, you could just go back and get it right away. So I don't know.
Days.
Yeah, I don't know when the times have changed on that. I don't think the birth certificate I have is certified because it's an actual photocopy of my real birth certificate, which I used to use. That was a good thing to have back in the
photocopy. Bitch, you have to have
now
a
you
real
have to
one.
have a
the
stamped
real
one and all
shit.
sorts of shit. Now, I don't even have that. My mom's gonna help me get it.
Oh,
so I can do that. But yeah,
Dude, I don't even know where any of that stuff. It's got to be in my mom's house somewhere, but I have no fucking idea where that stuff is.
Oh, Jesus.
Social security.
I always bring
cards.
my passport as well.
Just in case?
Yeah,
That's
just
smart.
in case. Yeah, but also clear. Clear is the shit.
I know we walk right through. It's the best.
They do your fingerprints. Your picture comes up. You are clear. Thank you. And then you go on through. The people are super friendly. They walk you all the way up to the guy or the gal who's working there. They wave at you. Everybody walks right through. And I have pre and TSA pre or TSA pre and clear. Oh,
Same.
so nice.
You don't travel international enough to have global, right? You don't have global.
I have that too,
You do?
bitch.
Why would you do it? You don't even.
Why wouldn't I?
Do you go out of the
bitch?
country?
Shit, I've been out of the country every fucking year for the last 15 years.
I know, but does everybody in your family have it too?
Yes.
They all gotta have it.
Bitch,
Yeah.
come on.
Global clearance.
Come on.
I don't fuck with that.
Come on.
We have
You don't
that.
fuck with global entry?
I don't have it. I don't
Global
do
entry
global.
gives you free TSA pre. How about that?
I already
You
got
didn't
the
even
TSA.
know.
But
You
I didn't
didn't
know
even
that. I didn't know that.
You get one, you get both. How about that?
I didn't know.
You got to go. Everyone. If most states, I don't know. Actually, I don't know how many states have this, but being at the DMV last few days, Real ID is a new thing coming through
Yes.
some states, and if you want to travel domestically,
Yeah, you're gonna
you
have
have to
have
get a
some
new
special
ID. Yeah.
What?
Or your passport.
You can't just. Oh,
No.
but I already have the.
But
fucking
that's to
passport.
fly from like here
But
to
your
Ohio. You need your
passport.
passport for that.
You're gonna have to have a passport if you want to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's so
Yeah, yeah,
dumb.
Yeah. Or
Dude.
get this new version of the California ID. Like you have to
Big
go give
brother.
another
Big
whatever.
Big brother wants it, baby.
Big brother.
Just put something in my arm. Just give me my
That's
ID in my arm.
what they want.
Fuck
They
yeah.
want you to give in.
Let them do
They
it.
want. Oh my god.
Let them do
can't
it.
believe
I
you're
gave in
saying
when I
this.
bought these. When I bought this tracking device that's listening to me 24 hours a day.
Your phone?
Yes.
What are you doing at the? What's the worst thing you do that phone picks up?
Talk shit.
But that's normal. That's normal.
Do you think that's
you're
so funny?
A professional shit
There's a
talker.
file. There's a file of all the shit talking. What if they log your shit talking? In
I'm
your
sure they
thing?
do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. One day you're going to say something bad about the government. They're going to pull you aside.
I say so many bad things about the government.
President Elizabeth Warren is going to bring you into a room.
Shut your mouth.
And she's going to
Shut
just
your
show
mouth.
you all the things you've
It's
done.
gonna be Peter Buttigieg, and you know that.
Peter
What is that? Some governor from some local.
South Bend, Indiana.
And she's like, we
He's a
got
mayor.
we got a fag running in the office.
Mayor Pete.
What did he say? Some homo. We got some homo running for president.
Who said that?
Some dude at some local government thing.
Did he?
Yeah, he was all mad. He's like, and some woman
that's
left. She was like, I
hilarious.
was so offended.
I'm so offended.
And then when people
Well,
are like,
he's
can
not
you
even
believe?
doing a good job as mayor. That's what's
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Remember when there was a cop that shot someone and his response was inadequate, and so they had all these fucking people saying, like, "How the fuck are you running for president while you're the mayor?"
Yeah.
Which I don't understand either.
No.
I don't understand how the fuck you could have an incredibly time-consuming taxing job like being the mayor
Right.
of a major city. Not major, but it's a city.
A city.
There's a few people living there.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be running that, and you're also running for president. It sounds like you're slacking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like if you had a job and you were the fucking CEO of whatever, fucking Heineken, right? And then in the meantime, you're out there campaigning to be the CEO of Budweiser.
Yeah.
Heineken will pull you over. Hey, fuckface.
Hey, talk to you for a second.
What are you doing?
What's up, dude?
You're not even here. You're 8 hours out of the fucking week. You're off doing Budweiser shit. Yeah, but that's a great gig. That Budweiser gig.
That's
is
a
great
really
gig.
good gig.
I'd like to keep the Heineken gig while I try to get the Budweiser gig, if you don't mind.
If you guys are cool with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope you guys are cool with it.
But did you find it? You
But
laughed.
even more,
Look at that.
widely spread video, a county commissioner Warren Hurst can be seen giving a minutes-long speech against what he sees as an America changing towards liberal values, arguing to make his jurisdiction a gun sanctuary, meaning that resources would be diverted away from enforcing certain gun laws. Whoa. In the speech, Hurst lamented, "What we got running for president in the Democratic Party," saying that better candidates could be found in jail. He continued, "We got a queer running for president. If that ain't about as ugly as you can get," referring to Buttigieg.
We got a queer running for
who was
president.
openly gay. Wow.
If that ain't about as ugly as you can get.
What do you think would happen if you became president? How bad would the homophobia be in this country?
Through the fucking
Through the
roof.
fucking roof.
Holy shit, it'd be
It almost
endless.
would be worse for gay people in the short run,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the homophobes they would be so adamant. It'd be dangerous for Buttigieg.
Buttigieg would set it up, but he doesn't have a fucking snowball's chance in hell. I mean, he's not even remotely close.
No. You know who kills me is that Beto O'Rourke guy.
Beto O'Rourke, yeah.
He seems like a joke.
Yeah.
Like someone said, "Look, dude, here's the sketch. For the next 24 months, you are going to pretend you're running for president. And I just want you to, like, skateboard and say a bunch of dumb shit.
Right.
And you're
Speak
gonna be
Spanish on
real,
big.
real clumsy with the way you talk about things.
Right.
Tell them you're going to take their guns. Just say it openly. Say, fuck the Second Amendment. I'm taking your guns." Me, Beta O'Rourke.
I'm gonna be Alpha O Santino the next time I run.
It's like, you know how Ali G, like he has these characters.
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
You know, he has the fucking Borat character. He has the gay character.
Yeah.
It's almost like a character.
Yeah, like a fictional person that
of
was made.
a super like emo sort of. Sam Tripoli had a picture of Beto on his Instagram saying, "Don't ever forget this when this guy runs for president." It's him covered with letters, like letters all over his body that says like vegan, feminist, and it's like writing all over his body. And I said to Sam, I said, "Is that really him?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, it is." But I don't know if Sam really knows.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I don't know if Sam's done any research.
Sam and I have endless arguments that go
but
fucking
it's so
nowhere.
perfect. I almost hope it is him.
I don't. I'm looking for that exact picture. The only thing I do know about him before this was happening was that he was known to be in this thing called the Cult of the Dead Cow, which is like a hacker group back in the day.
Oh my god!
Like one of the first hacker groups. You know, like when the movie Hackers was a thing, like that time period. I think. It must come from that.
The Cult of the Dead
Cow.
Cow.
Him being covered with all the words?
But that's right. I don't know what the...
No, it's like him in his underwear with writing all over his body.
Did you see that they fucking changed the ABCs?
Yeah, how'd they do that? Why'd they do that?
Now they don't... Now it's not... You know, because our youth... You know, you learn LMNO.
LMNOP.
So now it's not LMNO.
Why?
They sing it LMN. They changed the rhythm of the fucking song.
Right. Why did they do that?
Because they don't want kids to say elemental to get confused that those are not separate, that they are separate letters.
I saw it yesterday. Who's the they that changed it, though?
I don't know.
One guy recorded a new version of the song and it went viral.
But
Like,
it's
I don't
all
know
over
about
the place.
they.
Who's
like,
the they that's getting confused?
Is it going in schools? That's the only thing
I don't know.
I
It's
don't have
everywhere,
kids,
though.
So I don't know about that.
But did you find the Beto
I'm looking for
thing?
the picture. I don't know.
I think I saved it in my favorites.
I see a bunch of like older pictures of him from back then that
I was
are.
gonna say, if you go on Sam's
No,
Instagram,
but did you save it on? Did you look at Sam's
Oh, it's on
Instagram?
Yeah, it's on his gram, right?
Or you could ask Sam to send it to you. I didn't have it in my favorites. I probably was so disturbed by it, I didn't make it a favorite.
You know, it's Sam's wallpaper on his phone, I'm sure.
Sam's wallpaper in his house.
Send
I don't see it on his Instagram.
It's pretty far back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 6 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe too far back because he posts every day. It might not be worth it.
I was just gonna say.
Just Instagram Sam Tripoli Beto. What a weird name too, Beto. Beto. It's so close to Beta.
Beta O'Rourke.
He seems like such a silly guy.
And then that girl, Katie Hill, announced her resignment because she was
banging
harassed.
a dude
And a woman.
Yeah.
Thruples, baby.
She was banging a guy and a girl?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the girl she openly admitted to. The guy, she said, there was false rumors about their work sexual relationship, that they never hooked up at work or some bullshit like that.
What's the problem?
That her husband, that's probably part of it, that she's married.
She's married? Oh.
But that her husband, problem one, that he's being emotionally abusive to her by like releasing all this information about her cheating.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's being emotionally abusive. Imagine if it was a wife doing that about a male.
Come on.
No one would say that. You would never say that she's being emotionally abusive about her cheating husband.
Nope.
That's hilarious.
But she said, this article that I read said he's being emotionally abusive about her past, about her, whatever, infidelity.
Scandals.
Yeah, her infidelity, right.
That's hilarious.
Because they got video. You know, there's video of her.
Of her banging girls and
hooking
guys?
up with these people and pictures and all this shit.
Oh, wow.
Some comic had a funny tweet this morning that was like, I just like the idea of a thruple's kind of hot, but when you saw the picture of who she hooked up with, you're like, oh, bummer.
Well, sometimes it's better just
the imagination.
I found the picture Sam put update. I know this is not a real picture of Beto.
So, he updated
Sam.
it. He updated it. I caught it before it was an
asked him
update.
for it ttoo.
Damn it.
Said no, never mind.
Okay.
That's not what I was going to think. I didn't think I was going to find that either. That's
But
not what I thought I saw.
imagine if it was real. Put the picture up.
Yeah, I want to see
Put
it
the picture
regardless.
up so Tripoli. There, look at that. Look. Feminist, atheist, vegan, naturist. Is that a word?
Naturist?
Ecologist, queer, slut. Okay. That's someone's boy.
And that's not a real picture.
Well, it's a picture of someone, but not Beto.
But not a Beto. But it looks
No.
exactly like him.
Looks
though.
a lot like him. I think Tripoli thought it was him. He was hoping. The old days, you could just say it's him.
Yeah, what is it?
Show a picture.
I promise,
It's
man.
him.
You
Bro, it's
promise?
him.
I
Yeah.
promise it's him.
He's a
dude.
Mason too.
What?
Man, when people are Masons, everybody freaks out.
I'm so ignorant. I don't really know what that is, but I see it all the time.
It's an ancient group that you could belong to. And
I know, but it's still I know that, but I mean, it's still happening today. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't understand who becomes a Mason today.
Isn't Michael Chavello's a Mason, and I think Pat Miletich is a Mason as well. Someone else? Randall Carlson.
How do you go? How do you go through it? What do you? Is there like a fraternal fucking?
I don't know. I think it's like some guy explained it to me once in Houston. Some dude, and he seemed pretty honest. He's like, it's a fucking guys club. You hang out.
Yeah, like the Rotary Club.
It's like some secret shit. It's gone on forever and ever. He goes, but it's nothing. It's mostly just a place where guys hang out.
They say that.
That's how they're really doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Planning some fucked up shit though. That's really where people plan stuff. Where they go, oh, don't worry about us. It's nothing.
Like government takeover type shit.
Yeah. Who do we talk to in the car that said that they were saying they think? That they was talking about Snowden, saying that he's.
Oh yeah, controlled opposition.
Controlled opposition.
That term bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it so many times used about me. You're controlled opposition. Yeah, that's what I did. My entire life, what I did was I got into martial arts. I became a martial arts guy, taught martial arts, got into stand-up comedy, but it's really just to become controlled opposition.
Yeah.
All of it. This career, putting together a podcast, all that, talking shit, smoking weed with Elon Musk. It's just controlled opposition. It was just a long,
big, long play.
A long play. It's basically the Chinese government got a hold of me when I was a baby, and they groomed me.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Controlled opposition.
See, the thing is, when people on the outside, have you ever had someone like come up with a theory about you that you read it, you're like, what?
I'm gay, according to the internet. That's my favorite one. Look,
how'd you become gay?
Because I said on a post one time that I married Chris D'Elia, that we were like running away, and like a foreign publication got a hold of it. That like the English translation's hysterical.
What do you think the original language was?
I have
foreign.
no idea.
When it was foreign, was it foreign? Just foreign.
Just foreign.
Like
but it just says I'm gay.
Pakistani.
If you look it up, is Andrew Santino gay? It says a lot of things say I'm gay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of stoked about it.
If you were gay, would you be a top or a bottom?
I'd be a power bottom.
What is a power bottom?
I push back. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. We wear boots?
Thrust hard. Yeah. Grips and shit. Gloves.
Right.
I wear fingerless gloves. I slam back.
Right. Like the kind that guys work out in the park. You know those guys that wear those work gloves?
Yeah, there I am. I'm gay.
Andrew Santino, married, with wife, or gay man. Bio hints what sexuality might be. Live ramp up? That's the name of the website? Look at you and D'Elia. Hilarious.
Yeah.
That is, you look gay in that picture.
I know.
Bro. Oh my God. You look like you're looking at a dick.
I'm so hungry for it.
Hungry.
Yeah, it says I'm gay, dude. So I guess I am.
What are you going to do? At least you're not controlled opposition.
I am, though.
You're both?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
I'm a gay controlled opposition.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm
a government experiment.
Those gloves, those workout gloves, all those guys who work out in the park who do like those crazy calisthenics guys, they wear these work gloves. They wear work gloves when they work out.
Yeah.
I've been fucking fascinated by these videos. You ever pay attention to those workout in the park guys?
The street workout guys? Yeah.
Oh my God.
You've seen the prison workout
that
guys.
They can do. Yeah, but I mean, these guys in the park is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They do it outside now. They take prison workouts and they teach them in the park. There's a guy that does a YouTube thing that's like prison workouts in the park and shit.
Oh, I don't know. There's a guy who has park workouts. I didn't know it was prison workouts in the park.
Yeah. But and I don't know if this guy wears the gloves, but he uses whatever he can, right?
Well, these guys are just using like the monkey bars and like parallel bars and chin up bars and stuff that you find. You know how those workout areas in parks.
Yeah.
These guys, man, the fucking build on these dudes.
Yeah, they're jacked.
And the fucking feats of strength that they do, where they'll do a chin up, keep their legs extended.
Yeah.
What is the name of this YouTube channel?
Bar Stars. This is an older video too. So
right.
2011.
There's
20 million views.
There's a bunch of these. Believe it or not, this guy does not have an impressive physique in comparison to a lot of these fucking guys.
Truthfully, some of these guys it's unfucking real.
Yeah, but it's an amazing way to exercise when you realize like this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This guy's doing dips, but he's doing dips with his legs almost parallel to the floor behind him. That requires like freakish control of your body. There's so many of these guys too. It's like, it's an incredible way to work out. Like, you really realize, like, man, you don't need a gym to get a body like that. Like, who wouldn't be happy with a body like that? Who'd be like,
unreal.
Man, I got to lift some weights. That's about as good a body as you can get. And these fucking guys are all doing it at the gym. I mean, at these, these gym setups in the park. You can get a fucking amazing workout.
It's just a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups, right? That's the majority of it.
Yeah, this guy looks good. I mean, you see some guy. There was one guy that did it. He was Well, I'm 52. You see one guy who did it who was
Jamie.
63.
Jamie.
What? But he's in good shape. He's in good shape. But one guy who did it was 63. But there was a guy that I was looking at the other day that was 35 years old, and he looked like a fucking comic book superhero. And the dude was talking to him. So you see, they're all having these it's all
workman
those
gloves.
gloves. But they were talking to this dude, and they were like, "This is all you do? You don't lift any weights?" He's like, "I don't touch weights, man. All I do, like this fucking guy. Look at
his fucking back.
build on this
Jesus
guy.
Christ.
Look at his muscle ups." And Jamie's been trying to do a muscle up for 4 years now. He's never even come close.
By the
This
way-
guy's just throwing 6, 7 muscle ups, 8. Freakish.
This is a great transition from is Andrew gay to then me and you watching men do pull-ups.
Yeah.
This is going to be great for the internet.
But the build that these guys create,
No, it's insane.
Just from doing muscle ups.
Can
or
you do
just
one?
from doing?
Can you do a muscle up now,
No,
Jamie?
he can't do-
Nah, that's
This
funny.
guy's at 12. He did 12 fucking muscle ups. That's insane, man. He's dying at 12. Oh my God, that's it. But they all wear those work gloves. Like, look at the fucking shredded these guys are. It's an amazing way to work out, man, because it's all body weights. You know, it's all chin-ups and dips and push-ups, and they figure out a way to do them in all sorts of different ways, right? They figure out a way to do these chin-ups and dips and different angles, so you're
Right.
hitting the bottom of your chest, the top of your chest.
I think there's a lot of genetics involved there, too.
Well, there's a lot of hard work, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of genetics you have. To do what that guy just did, you need to fucking work hard for a long time.
Totally. But also, like, those guys are fucking... That's supreme athlete shit, too. At some point, they're blessed with, like, athletic skill to be able to get to that point. You know what I mean? Some people could work out a lot and still never be able to do a muscle up.
Pointing to Jamie like that?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just had an injury I've been recovering from.
Which
for
Yes.
What is it?
months.
What is
He
it?
fell while I was using one of our hoverboards. I told
Caused
him
a
not
lot
to
of
fuck with
problems.
the... Dude, it did. He fucked his back
Wait,
up hard.
with the one wheel thing?
No,
Not
the
that
other
one,
one.
the
The
other
two-wheel
Oh,
ones.
those I don't like those fucking things.
Those are great.
You
I
ate
love
shit?
them.
Oh, hard.
Oh, did he eat shit?
Real
Feet
hard.
up. Feet up.
Broke a camera.
Back first. Boom.
Oh shit, really?
I had my camera in my hand. I was getting real confident and thought I could start filming while I was going around on it. And I
Cocky
stopped
boy.
to just like look at the lens.
Whoop.
Next thing I know, I was like on the ground. Camera's
gave
broken.
up.
They got me on
And
that
he's-
one wheel thing.
He's been hurt for like over a year.
What
like a year.
what did you hurt the most?
His dick hole.
Yeah.
It literally, I don't know what it went to,
Broke
but
his
it fucked up my
Oh, his dick
posture
hole.
because it started in my back. I couldn't sit right for a while. Then it just started problems down in my left leg and hip, and
Oh shit.
yeah, not good.
Yeah, if you can't sit right, man, you can get a bulging disc easy. You
Yeah.
know how people get bulging discs? Guys with big wallets. You have like a wallet, you keep too many business cards.
Is
and all
that real?
bullshit. Fuck yeah, it's real.
Oh, that's funny.
Guys, you're sitting on your wallet and you're all your weight's on one ass cheek, and your disc gets compressed.
And you're
on
hunched
one
at a
side,
computer all day.
and after a while, it bulges.
You know who doesn't have a wallet?
Who?
Me.
How about Jamie? Jamie doesn't have a wallet either.
Jamie doesn't either. I put all my
Jamie's-
I put all my shit in my front pocket. That's from when I was a kid.
You don't have. What do you do with your credit cards?
My front pocket?
You don't have a clip or anything?
Nope.
Bro, you ever see a Ridge wallet? You know what those are?
Yeah, no.
Get one of those.
Yeah, I used to push them on my show. I don't like wallets. I don't
What
love
do you
wallets.
like?
I just liked having cash and cards.
You don't even. You have a case on your phone now.
I do now. I know. I used to never have a case. You know why?
Oh, it broke.
No.
It's made out of glass.
No.
You're not stupid anymore.
No, I'm
What?
still gonna. No, I'm still fucking stupid. I put a case on it because the Apple Care is gone on this thing now.
Oh, someone's scared.
No, it's just because the phone is done. I don't know. It's like I
done?
paid the phone off and then there's no Apple Care anymore left.
I'm scared.
No, I don't want to have to deal with it now.
Oh, you were dealing with it before.
No, if I did break it, I would just go get a new one.
So you're one of those guys when you have car insurance, you drive like an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Do you get rental insurance? Do you get rental insurance or no?
No, because my insurance has it covered already.
Yeah, but they try to get it for you, right?
Yeah, but I always-
Would you like coverage?
I treat those things like
Collision
shit.
coverage?
I'm crashing it. Yeah, I have a fun car. I'm going to drive it fun. I want to drive it fun.
I get it, bro.
You do. You know. I'm not that guy.
What guy?
I'm not the guy that
Don't
pulls
point at me.
I didn't. I pointed
You're
up at the
pointing
sky.
at me. You're pointing at
I'm
me.
not that
Jamie.
guy.
Who's he pointing at?
I saw a finger going straight across from yourself.
Yeah.
and
Oh, fuck
there's
you, Jamie,
only
fuck
one
you.
person
Yeah.
there.
Jamie, go
Point right-
fall off a fucking
Thank you.
hoverboard again.
Hey,
Fall on the other side and balance
got
yourself
a
out.
scooter with handles now. Thing.
He does. He's got a power scooter.
Wait, what?
It goes fast.
Yeah.
What do you mean a power? Like a fucking.
Fuck.
Like a bird scooter, but like way faster.
goes like 25 miles an hour, like a Usain Bolt sprint.
Is that a custom made? Did you get that? How do you can't buy that? You just buy it like
Buy it from China. They're trying to kill white people.
Hell yeah, they
I think
are.
it's made in America. Actually.
Fuck yeah, China. No, it's not.
The pieces aren't. It was probably compiled.
Assembled in
America.
China.
Yeah, there you go. Assembled.
Assembled.
They got me on the one wheel out there. I learned it real fast.
How many of those MAGA hats are made in China?
Every single one.
Probably.
I think
right?
they are. Yeah,
Every
I think
single
they
one.
are.
Every fucking one. I love them.
That's hilarious. MAGA hats being made in China is fucking.
You know,
funny.
fashion-wise, fashion's gonna when he's gone and all this shit's over with in a decade or so. Those hats are gonna be so fucking popular.
Oh yeah.
They'll be worth so much money.
Oh my God, it's like Dick Nixon, like Richard Nixon
Oh
t-shirts.
yeah, that's right.
They're very valuable.
Tricky Dick.
You could wear a Nixon t-shirt right now. Nixon for president.
100%.
Nobody would
say
nobody
shit.
beat your ass.
No. Why? No.
People will beat your ass if you have a red hat with other white letters on it.
Yeah, just cause.
Like there's a girl who got maced in the face and she had a hat that said "Make Bitcoin Great Again."
Someone didn't read it. They just
They
were
didn't
like,
bother reading it. Fuck you with your red hat with white letters. They maced her right in the face. A video of it.
"No, I'm ignorant." But has this happened for any other president where this kind of thing? Like, did someone wear shirts for another president? And that was kind of the thing that carried.
No. This is number
Fucking
one.
crazy.
Not only that, dude. How about what it says? Make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
Who was like, fuck you. We don't want it to be great. Fuck you.
It's just the representation, the context. They just associate Trump,
Right.
so they're like, "That's it."
It's also again. Like, make it great again. Like, what? When was
it great?
When
Right.
slavery was legal? When was it great?
Yeah.
When civil rights wars were going on? When was it great?
Yeah, the phrase is inherently
When
fucking
things
wrong.
were segregated? When was it great?
Name the great time.
When was it great?
When we first came here and we stole it from
I'll
people.
tell you when it's great. Right now, bitch.
Yeah.
It's as good as it's ever been.
It's not going to get better than this.
If you pay attention to like real trends, forget about how you feel. Like forget about like your own personal experience. If you just look at objective trends in terms of violence, crime, all the statistics that we're all really terrified about,
Right.
there's never been a better time.
No.
There's never been a better time for humanity.
But it's
for
always going to be
the United States. It's a pretty goddamn
It's
good
good.
time.
We're our best critic, you know?
Of course.
Well, fucking Trump just went after Chicago again. He just was making fun of my city because of the crime rate, saying
What
how we
was
can't
he
get it
saying?
under control.
I was talking about the cops.
Yeah.
Chicago cops.
Yeah, saying that we can't get crime under control in Chicago.
Well, he's probably making fun of the mayor. You know, in some way. He's
Oh, yeah.
blaming it on the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
What's your favorite mayor?
Yeah, I love her. Well, it's just easy to make fun of.
I know.
She seems like a nice lady, though.
We just get
But
shot. Chicago gets shots taken at it all the time because it's like, they're like, it's
Southside.
fucking, it's all violence. It's like, it's not all fucking violence.
Well, that's what's even more fucked about it. It's a very specific area that has had extreme violence for a long
Yeah,
time.
South side and the west side.
Yeah, it's dark, man. It's fucking
then,
so much.
meanwhile-
that's scary that when you have a place that like it's where it's isolated, you know, where there's just like so much violence there, and then outside of it, it's really nice. Like what?
But some of the nice areas we're getting, even like kids would do these things, they do these mob attacks where they go to like a really nice area like Michigan Avenue where all the tourists are and shit. And they would just like rob someone, but they'd be like 15 people on one, you know? So they knew that A, they were going to get away with it, and B, how could you stop? It's kind of so much chaos. It's like organized chaos. And they would run into a store and steal shit and just leave because they figure you're not going to get all of us.
Right.
It's like maybe one person gets caught, but rob from the rich, you know?
I saw a video of, I don't know how many times they've done it right now, but groups of, it's happened 3 times in California, twice here, somewhere else. Probably 200 people get on those scooters and just take over a street and then just go wherever they can go.
Oh, shit.
And the cops are trying to stop them, but there's so many people they can't stop, and the helicopters are on them.
Do they organize online?
Yeah, like Facebook meetups or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like what are those things
Just having
called?
fun.
What are those
but-
things called when people have like flash mobs?
Yeah,
Flash mob,
So
flash
they have
mob.
a flash mob for
basically,
scooters.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anything dangerous happening, but I mean, I'm sure it's.
Speaking of dangerous, what do you think about what Trump did when they killed the head of ISIS and he said he died crying and whimpering, and then he watched the whole thing on video? I'm like, Jesus.
He's like a deranged comedy writer. Like he's like a he sometimes I think he's like trying to be funny or clever, and I just don't. It's like an autistic kid. He just doesn't. His tick is wrong.
But that just does not seem very presidential.
No, that's what I'm saying. His
That
tick
seems
is
like-
off. I think he thinks it's normal or fun or interesting or dynamic, and people are like, he has no one person next to him going, "Do we? Is that what you want to? That's the version that you want to say?" Because we talked about that on the plane. Is like the theory of how do you tell someone they're wrong when things have told them that they're right? How do you tell the guy that's like, I won against all odds to become the president when someone's like, you shouldn't tweet that? He's like, really? Look at all the fucking other stuff that, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to convince this guy that he's wrong when
Well, if anybody
he feels
tells
right.
him not to do things, he fires them.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like he has a bunch of yes men anyway.
Well, he's treating the presidency the same way he treats running Trump Tower.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing.
You're fired.
Anybody tells him what to do, get the fuck out of here.
You're fired.
Yeah, and he's just doing it on a large scale. But do we expect differently? That's what's weird. Like, what would you expect different out of a guy who's 70? What is he? 74?
I don't even know.
How old is he?
Mid-70s, yeah.
That's so old too, to be running a giant fucking thing like the presidency.
Loves McDonald's, baby.
Does he?
Loves McDonald's.
I know he loves Kentucky Fried Chicken. What's
Loves
up? What? What does it say?
Oh no, yeah, 73.
73.
Did you see the photo that
What?
they put out yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
They're saying a lot of people were saying this is a staged photo.
Yeah, it does
Oh my
look,
god!
it looks
fake as
photoshopped.
Fuck.
Yeah, like all the things aren't plugged into the Cat 5 wires. They just kind of like laid them around.
Yeah.
All the guys are kind of like looking in different directions.
Who fucking let that? What kind of IT guy let that thing be so goddamn sloppy? And what is this supposed to be a photo of?
Them watching that happen because they're trying to compare it to the one that happened. This is the Obama one when they killed Bin Laden and everyone's sitting
Right.
around the room.
How weird is it? They all watch.
That's funny. There's a bunch of photos.
Watch
Go
it
down. There's a bunch of
remote.
photoshopped ones that are coming out now.
Yeah, no, they're making jokes of it now. Like, there's Hulk Hogan. And
Like what?
When that's funny. There's a bunch of photos.
Watch
Go
it
down. There's a bunch
remote.
of photoshopped ones that are coming out now.
yeah, no, they're making jokes of it now. Like, there's Hulk Hogan. And
Sarah Palin's in there.
yeah.
Oh
Dude, we
my
saw a
God.
video
Bruce
this
Willis
weekend,
is in the back.
We saw a video this weekend of Hulk Hogan checking down some guy at a restaurant. He was on crutches, and some guy must have said something fucking stupid to him. And he walked up to him, and he was giving him the whole like I'm a personality, but I'll still bust your like. That's what I like about guys like that are like, yeah, no, I'm famous, and like, you know, it's you can be like cute and hello and say, but like talk shit, and I'll still fuck you up. Like Hulk Hogan will fuck you up.
He's a big fella.
He's
like
a
we were
bad
telling
bitch.
You, we were saying that he lost like 3+ inches of height because of all of his back operations.
Yeah.
Because they removed all of his discs and fused them all together. So all the cushion in between his discs are all gone.
It's fucking nuts.
All the spinal columns are all smooshed together and bolted down in so many different places.
And it's all from
Pro wrestling, man.
yeah.
So hard on your body.
It does take such a toll on their fucking body. As much as I think it's still goofball bullshit.
Oh my God, it's so hard physically.
It's so hard physically.
Well, that's why Dallas Page created DDP yoga.
I know.
I mean, he really created that just to strengthen his spine and rehabilitate himself from all the injuries that he incurred during pro wrestling.
He's the shit. He's a good dude.
He's a great dude.
I just think, like,
and
the-
that fucking workout is hard as shit.
Yeah, you see like in shape dudes trying it online and
It's
they're struggling.
hard.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard,
Yeah.
man. Look, yoga's hard, and his yoga is particularly intense because he adds a lot of dynamic tension to it. You know,
Right.
and you know that guy's. I mean, he's in his 60s, and he came here and he was doing some yoga poses, like grabbing a hold of his ankle and lifting it up over his head. He's in fucking tremendous shape.
I've never done yoga once.
It's great.
I know.
did
People
it
say it's
today.
good. I don't know. I know
Come
you
with
did
me,
hot
bitch.
yoga. I'll come. I don't want to do hot. I don't want to do hot.
Oh, I'm scared to do
No, I'm not scared. I don't want. I'm
Mister,
gonna
I
sweat.
run 5 miles, but I'm scared to do yoga.
Fucking dick.
Oh, so scared.
Do it hot. Why don't you do it hot? It's the best way to do it.
Shh, Jamie.
It's the best way because you stretch out better.
No, you're just ganging up on me right now.
Plus, it's good for your body because it develops heat shock proteins that mimic what's like being in a sauna.
Is regular yoga fine?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Why don't you do hot yoga?
Why don't we do regular yoga?
Why don't you do hot yoga?
Because
Why are you
I
scared?
don't
Ari
want to be
can
the
do it.
guy in hot.
Ari did 15 of them in a month. He doesn't even work out. He takes acid
Ari's a
every day.
dosist. You gonna trust a guy that doses people?
Yeah, trust him well. He wouldn't dose me. He's my friend.
It's okay. So I'm gonna say that to Bert next time I say so fucking. He dosed Bert because he's a fucking
He dosed Bert
diabolical person.
because he felt like he'd get away with it.
Mm-hmm. I'll do hot yoga.
It was a lapse in judgment that he has since apologized for.
No, I know. I love him. I'm kidding. How about this? I'll do hot yoga if you come play basketball with me and Jamie.
I would do that, but basketball's hard on the joints, man. All that side-to-side motion.
Come on, come
Yeah.
on, baby.
Street basketball or in
Yeah.
a court?
What are we gonna do? How would we play basketball with him? Because that'd be tough.
Well, we'll do
21 or something.
We'll do 21. Yeah.
Or smoke him.
Yeah,
That's
I
not fair.
don't know how to play basketball. I'm
Yeah.
terrible.
I know, but that's fun. I don't know how to do yoga. I'll look like a
It's not
clown doing that.
competition. Yoga's
Huh?
not a competition.
It won't really be that competitive.
How well do you play? You play good?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Fun for you.
This is the same yoga shit. I don't know. I'm gonna eat
How about
shit.
do this? How about we do jujitsu first?
Okay.
And then we'll see if you can play yoga.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll put you in a heel hook. See if you can move around
That's
good.
fucking fine. Let's do yoga then.
Okay.
Fucking- I'll do the hot yoga. You know,
I can play 21. I mean, I won't win.
You know what the problem is with yoga for me for real?
Jamie can fucking sink some 3-pointers. I don't even know if you know how good Jamie is.
No,
There's a video
I
of
can
Jamie
feel it.
doing jump shots, just swish, catches the ball,
practice, but yeah,
swish. Dude,
Yeah.
dude.
I know.
No, really. No, I bet Jamie smokes you.
5th in the city.
I got
please.
all my money
Okay.
on young Jamie.
Okay, good. How much?
How much? You tell me.
Here we go.
Here we
How
go,
much?
baby.
How much?
Put up that coin.
How about $1,000?
Okay.
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 Okay. What's the game?
What are we doing? Are we playing? Not one-on-one. We're playing. We're doing.
Okay, let's play. You guys can play horse.
Okay.
I got $1,000 on him.
Can't wait to film it.
Jamie, you in?
No, definitely.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
in.
you're getting smoked, dude.
Okay. Then we'll do home run derby.
And I'm gonna spend that $1,000. I'll take us all out to dinner.
Okay.
Whatever's left, I'll give to the waiter.
Okay, good.
We're in.
I'm in.
All right.
I can't wait.
Well, should we film it?
We gotta
Oh,
get-
yeah,
we
yeah.
should.
Where do we do it though?
I don't know. Staples Center.
We should make a basketball court next door.
We could do it. We might have a little bit of space in here.
There's a couple of feet, right?